All right. Good evening, everybody. This will be the last prospects dedicated show we have on this side. As you know, we recently launched TWT Prospects. We have completed the rebranding of the old Caniac Sessions X account to that. The YouTube assets will be converted this week, and all prospect content will be moved over there, minus anything that integrates NHL and prospects, i.e., prospects being part of bigger trades and stuff like that. But this is going to be the last one over here. So make sure you're subscribed to the old Caniac Sessions YouTube channel and that you're following TWT Prospects over on X. It's the description for it is in my bio. And I will now turn the floor over to our prospects guy, Matthew. Welcome back. How you doing, sir?
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back. I'm excited to do this. Excited to talk to some Canes prospects. Excited to, get started on our new venture. And of course, I think we'll port this video over there too in the future. Let's dive right in. Basically, my plan for tonight is just kind of to give my thoughts on each prospect season so far, and of course, where I see them projecting. And we're going to start with what I feel the more interesting, or definitely the more NHL ready prospects first. And let's not bury the lead here. Let's start with Bradley Nadeau. He is having a stellar year in the AHL. Currently, he's got 13 goals, 18 assists for 31 points in 27 AHL games. He's also, of course, spent some time with a big league team. It says 8 games with 2 goals, 0 assists. He's not, of course, when he is get called up, he's usually playing bottom line minutes, fourth line minutes, like maybe 10 at most, and second unit power play time. And even in that limited time, I think, if you watch him, he passes the eye test, I think, with flying colors, and he is ready. He is for sure ready for a top 6 role in the NHL today. And he is a top 6 NHL player playing in the AHL, which, of course, there's no end to the discussion on why that's a problem and what are we going to do about it. And it's a good problem to have. I mean, a lot of teams would kill to have, a prospect covered so deep where a bona fide top 6 player is stuck in the minors. But nevertheless, it is something that we're going to have to deal with, as the organization is going to have to figure out. Of course, Randy, I've made my thoughts known on this. I really do not want to trade him. He's got the best shot in the organization. It is just, his release is just superb. It's basically second to none. So much so that in the offseason, when he was training with the Sidney Crosby,
I wouldn't pass the puck either if I had a shot.
Yeah, that's right. Sidney Crosby tells him, do not pass the puck. Your shot is, don't pass it to me. Your shot is too good. What else can you say? What other endorsement do you need? So you don't trade that. You don't trade that for anything less than exactly what the organization needs, which is a top center. And not just like we've talked about it. We've talked about a lot of centers that could fill the 2C spot, like Vincent Trocheck, like EP40, like more recently, like someone who's maybe just come available, Shane Wright. None of them would I trade Nadeau for. The only one I would consider possibly trading Nadeau for was Robert Thomas. And even then, it would hurt. It would really, really hurt to trade away.
I can understand. It's like, it's like Nystrom's name has come up in discussions of possibly being traded, not because he's not good enough, because it's just there's not any short-term upward mobility for him. That would kind of punch me in the gut a little bit, because Nystrom grew on me really quick. You know how I'm a nerd for guys who defend really well.
And he does.
And he does. And it's very impressive that he does so at his size and, has the artificial reach he does. Now, on the subject of players having good shots, I'm a firm believer that on the active roster, other than Seth Jarvis, Logan Stankoven has the best shot amongst the forwards on the team.
I would say I can agree with that. He's got a very, very snappy release that he can beat a goalie clean from the circle. Whenever you can do that, that's impressive.
This is where I have the question for you then. You don't want to trade Nadeau. And if it's up to you, would you trade Stankoven to be able to hold on to Nadeau, provided you have another center?
I think I would. I think I would. And I know that's kind of doing him dirty, because, we acquired him we acquired him at the trade deadline last year, signed him to a huge deal, and then off you go again. That is bad PR, but we're not, the GM can't think about PR, this is the National Hockey League, and sometimes you got to make really tough decisions. And I want to keep all like the three folks. So obviously, this kept going into the trades a little bit, but of course, we've talked about Blake, Stank, and Nadeau as possible trades to get our second line center. And if I have to trade one of them, I would choose Stankoven. I know that's not everyone's on me with us, and I understand reasonable people can disagree, but bringing it back to Nadeau here, his shot is still a step above Stankoven's. You're right that, in fact, it's a step above Jarvis's. It is truly that good.
And I think the only reason Jarvis's is a little bit behind is because of the shoulder. I can only imagine what it's like if the shoulder's fully healthy.
It reminds me of, and his shot is that good, except he's
Bedard.
Cole Caulfield.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good one. Yeah,
yeah, he is at least that good of a shooter. You just those don't come around too high.
No,
it's rare enough that you ever even get to draft one. To trade one, I think, unless you're meaning exactly what the team would need for several deep cup runs, which I think Robert Thomas could do that for us. Nothing less than that would I part for Nadeau. And like I said, even then it would sting because his shot is better than Robert Thomas's is ever going to be. I think Robert Thomas is just a complete center, which is obviously extremely valuable. But golly, I do not want to give him up. And I understand that, left wing. I mean, he's a right-handed left wing. Golly, can we not find a spot for him there? In the big club, he is NHL ready right now. I don't know what else more needs to be said about it. His 5-on-5 game has come a very long way. His defensive play his play away from the puck has gotten a lot better. So he is obviously, those aren't the best aspects of his game, to be sure, but they're definitely passable now to be NHL competent.
Okay, so here's my biggest question about Nadeau.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest concern with him was puck protection ability because he's a little bit on the smaller side. Do you think that he's made significant progress in that regard?
I do.
Okay.
He's not gonna be a world beater in terms of grinding along the boards, but he's certainly willing to. In watching the tape of Chicago, he is far more willing than he used to be. He's far more willing to engage and take the contact and take the hit and absorb the contact. He can do that a lot better than he used to be. Again, not world class at it. He's not. I wouldn't call him a power forward. He's a sniper. He's a shooter, but he's definitely, I think, at least competent at the NHL level, to where he won't be, just shrugged off the puck like a ragdoll. And that's all I really want him to. That's all I really need from him in order to accept a top six role. Is that you have to be at least competent in protecting the puck and engaging along the boards, which he is.
Yeah.
And
See,
you give him even the tiniest bit of space, he can fire that shot off, and it'll beat a goalie clean.
See, that was my biggest thing about him. I wanted to know that if, in your opinion, and it sounds like yes, that he's hit that minimum threshold to be able to do those things at the NHL level.
In my opinion, he has.
Okay. And I'll trust your opinion on that because you watch the prospects and keep up with them a lot more than I do, which is why I brought you on to do stuff like this, because you're very plugged in on that. So here's one of my things about it. I want to hold on to Nadeau as well if possible, but he also may not have a path upward considering the signings of Stankoven and Blake, who are also both right-handed guys. Stankoven also has the growing ability to play center. I don't think he's where he needs to be with it just yet. That being said, one of the reasons why I said if Carolina were to pursue someone like Kiefer Sherwood, even though he's off the board now, I strictly wanted him from a rental standpoint, so that way when he's gone, Nadeau takes whatever spot he had, because they're both left wingers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just thinking of the current roster right now on the left side. Right now it's Svechnikov, even though he should play the right side. Svechnikov, Hall, Ehlers, and I guess it's going to be Kokiniemi again now that Robinson's hurt. All playing the left side. I think Nadeau is better than Hall, and he's better than Kokiniemi in terms of offensive production.
Mm-hmm.
I think either of those are better. I think he can take either of those spots and do a better job.
That would also open up Svechnikov to maybe stay on the right if you have Nadeau.
Also fair.
And that's also like another path for you to get another center, and you say, okay, Now you can actually build a legitimate, lethal NHL caliber top six that this team has not. Even the 22-23 season, when it looked like they were going to get it done, even then they didn't have a true, honest to God top six. Even then.
And like right now with Taylor Hall, and I love Taylor Hall, and he's had a really good season. He's played really well for us, but we can do better in that second line left wing. And I think Nadeau should be there. He should be there right now. And maybe with it won't happen, but if I'm in charge of the lineup, I'm bumping Taylor Hall down to take Eric Robinson's spot and calling up Nadeau, and he should probably stay.
This would be a good chance. No, this is actually a perfect opportunity with Robinson being out for him to do that because, Rod's not going to play Mole except out of necessity. That's become very apparent. So you might as well seize this opportunity to put Nadeau in the lineup and give him an extended look because the last time he got called up, he didn't play at all, if I remember correctly. So now you have a chance to actually call him up, put him in the lineup, and leave him there for a little while and see what you get out of him. And like you're saying, with the lethality of his shot and his pedigree as a player is being a top six winger, don't stick him with Martinook and Stahl. Don't put him on the opposite side because, again, that was a mistake that I think has been made with Svechnikov nearly his entire tenure here, with the exception of when Aho and Teravainen were playing together and they had Svechnikov on the right wing. If they're going to actually do that, I think now is a really, really good time to do it. Like, see what type of chemistry that he can have with a combination of players like Aho and Svechnikov. I don't want him, Aho, and Jarvis playing together. That's too small. So, but I think that you have that lethality there. And with Aho's playmaking that's taken the step it's taken up, particularly over the last two seasons, you're giving you have Svechnikov, who's one of those guys that can really establish his zone. He's gotten really good at playing that power forward game all over again. It's like he reinvented his game for a little while. Now his speed is back, and now he's able to make a lot of the plays that he made before the injury. You can let him play that type of game. You have Aho to be the defensive safety valve, make the 200-foot plays, and do the playmaking. And then you have another lethal, pure goal scorer to their left with Nadeau, who plays on the offside as well. Aho is good enough defensively to cover whatever defensive mistakes would come combined with Nadeau and Svechnikov playing their offsides, I think. I really believe that.
Imagine the firepower of an Aho centering Nadeau and Svechnikov.
Yeah, like offensive zone face-offs would be terrifying for the other team.
Yeah, Nadeau playing the left side and Svechnikov on the right. I would love it. Rod's never going to do that in a million years because it really irks him to play wingers on the offside.
I don't understand why, though. I don't understand that.
It's defensive, It's there's a reason. It's not the reason. It's not a good enough reason, in my opinion.
And
all right, so.
See, that's one other thing about that, though, before we go on to anything else. Have you noticed, and I talked about this in Landfall Hour, I want to say it was, or maybe it was Damage Report, one of the shows I've done recently. I don't want to say Svechnikov has outright abandoned the structure of things, but he's definitely kind of operating autonomously to the system in a lot of cases because even though he's on the left wing, he starts on the left wing, he ends up on the right side of the ice in the offensive zone a whole lot lately.
And he's getting open.
Yeah, he's finding his own off puck routes, and I don't think he's really concerned with anything else, and that's the way he needs to play.
Yeah, he needs to go out there and be the power forward guy, bulldoze his way to the net, crunch someone in the boards, and he's doing it, and it's great. It's great to see. So yeah, I want to keep Nadeau. I want to find a spot for him, come hell or high water on this team, just because he will score 40 at least, in perpetuity. He will be a 40-goal scorer in the NHL season in, season out, somewhere. And if it ain't going to be here, it's got to be somewhere else. And I really don't want to see it happen somewhere else. So, all right, that's Nadeau. I've said my piece there. Now let's talk about the next most NHL-ready prospect we have. And believe it or not, that is Justin Robidoux. Of course, we've seen him have his, a few cups of coffee up here with the big club too. And with him, it's a lot harder for me to see a pathway really on the team, unless we're willing to basically have him bump Jankowski off, which I'm sure you probably love. Rod probably would not do that. And I know you're highly critical of him for many valid reasons. I am not quite as critical of Jankowski as you are. I see the issues, of course. I'm not blind.
Yeah, and part of me doing it though is
when
also
when he makes a perfect move, like a brilliant move to leave his check in the dust and fake the goalie out. That's like not that many. That doesn't happen too often, even at the NHL. And then you got all 4x6 to shoot at, and you pick over there. And,
yeah.
yeah.
And part of my Jankowski thing is just my commitment to the gimmick. It's like about half of what I say is just for the sake of humor. I don't actually really hate. It's the same thing with the Shea and Goss to Spare thing. I have nothing but respect for Brady Shea, but it's just fun.
Yeah, of course. And no, but to be fair, I mean, like he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. So I don't know why that's the case. I know Robotot's has definitely a better, more accurate shot than Jankowski does, but he's small, and that's the thing. It's like this team has already got a lot of smallish forwards, and especially at the center position, we can't really go smaller. So that's why he won't really take Jankowski's spot, even though I think he's a better player. And let's just take a look at his stats here real quick. I think he's leading the Wolves right now. 19 goals, 15 assists, 34 points in 33 games. Yeah, he is. Damn. And he's playing the wing right now, actually, on Chicago. He's playing top line right wing and centered by Suzuki with Nadeau. It's the Suzuki, Nadeau, and Robidas. Mm-hmm. And I think he's also ready. He can play center. He's extremely toolsy. He can play center or wing. And he plays both special teams. He plays penalty kill, power play, all situations guy. The only thing that holds his career back is his size, but he's definitely got all the other tools to be in the NHL. I would say probably like third line center is probably his ceiling. Mm-hmm. And, as long as Jordan Staal is here and Jankowski is only under contract for one more season. So there's maybe a chance that Robidas can make the big club next year. Yeah, depending on what happens, a lot of it will depend on the offseason and the trade deadline will be due this year. But as of right now, there's not really a spot for him at the big club, barring injury. And if he gets used in a trade, that I think would make a lot more sense, just because, doing right by him, he can play in the NHL now, mm-hmm. And I think he's ready. He does everything well, and there's not really much more to say. He's just, at least. NHL competent in every aspect of the game, so he's never gonna disappoint you.
Alrighty, I liked what I saw of him when he was up.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Robidas, he's like I said, he's an NHL player right now playing in the minors, and so we have two bona fide NHL players stuck in the minors right now. Again, good problem to have, but it's still a problem that the team needs to solve somehow. All right, so yeah, that's Robidas. And just briefly go through some of the other Wolves players. A note here about Ryan Suzuki. He's having a good year. 7 goals, 19 assists, 26 points as the top line center in Chicago. That's not bad. We got to cut bait with him though. I mean, like it's just not happening. He's not gonna. It was good. I'm glad to see he at least got to the NHL and at least made his stamp there. But he can say he is one of the players to make the National Hockey League. I think he could probably play in the NHL as well, but it's not going to be here. And I think he's only under contract for one more year, and they're going to release him. Or I'd like to see them trade him for something, maybe recoup a little bit of that asset. There's nothing much more we can do with him, in my opinion.
There's no path upward for him. There's no path upward for him here.
It's a real shame.
Yeah, it is because I think he would have been a good. Well, he's a good player regardless. I think that the injuries derailed him a lot. Yeah. I legit, there were a lot of people that thought that Ryan Suzuki had, and I think this was an overestimation on their part. Respectfully, there were a lot of people who saw a top 6 center there. I never saw that with him, even when he was healthy. I saw a solid middle 6 guy at best. Yeah. I think that's like right about the target for him. I could definitely see Suzuki being included in some sort of larger package, or like you're saying, recoup some of those assets. Maybe you can get like a 4th form or something like that. Send him to a team that's not as deep with depth centers, and then he probably finds a clear path up to the league.
Yeah, that's how I feel he should be managed at this point. And let's see, anyone else on the Wolves to talk about? Oh yeah, Felix Unger-Sorum. He had a blistering hot start to the year. He's cooled off a bit, but he has still fixed a lot of the problems that he had last year, in my opinion. Of course, he was tried at center last year. It did not work at all. He is not.
Yeah, that did not work at all.
He is a right wing. Now, again, of course, the obvious comparison with him is a player we know well is Teuvo Teravainen, except he goes to the right side. He's right-handed. And what he has done this year, which has improved everything around him dramatically, is his shot is an actual threat. He has 8 goals and 20 assists for 28 points in 36 games. Again, he had a blistering hot start. He's since backed off that a little bit, but I'm still, I'm very glad to see that development and that improvement from Felix Unger-Sorum. Right now, there's not a spot for him in the big club, but I'm pleased with that development track. We could include him in a trade if we want to. He's probably an attractive piece, but there's no hurry with him. I'd say we can hang on to him and see what happens. I'm excited to see where his development goes from here. He has improved dramatically.
Yeah, that was one thing I noticed last year when they tried him out at center. And it's kind of the same thing with Stankoven. I think that it would be better to have him on the wing in the event that things ultimately line up that way. And I think that his game took a little bit of a backtrack because of that transition. Same thing applies to Felix Unger-Sorum, in my opinion. Another guy that I think that, he's another one of those guys that could be included in a potential bigger deal, if you ask me. But like you're saying, you can also, because of that, development lapse that was done from them trying to put him at center, that does give you a little bit more time to work on him and everything. Plus, I'd imagine he's got to be one of the youngest guys on the Wolves because he was the youngest player in the draft when the Hurricanes drafted him.
Yep, he still is quite young. And so again, he's still got a decent amount of runway ahead of him, a decent amount more that he can develop and improve. But I really like what I'm seeing. He's still got his vision is unbelievable, and he especially on the power play, he is high danger passes all day long on the man advantage. Great to see. Now with let me switch gears here to a defenseman. I know this is outside of your wheelhouse here, but let's talk about Fensore for a second.
Man, I love that kid. I wish he was taller. He's so good.
It. I mean, he's the problem. Like, you just can't stick in the NHL at 5'7" as I'm playing defense. We saw it. Stop trying to make him a thing. It's not going to happen with Fensore. He can be really good in the AHL because the players are not as fast. They're not quite as big. So his skating, which is world class, can cover, but it cannot cover NHL forwards. So, in my opinion, we need to cut bait with him too. I mean, I guess unless the organization wants to just have him be a nice, piece for the Wolves to help everyone else there, which would be fair. But he is not an NHL player.
Yeah, and you summarized it really well that one time when you said that, at the AHL level, you can outskate your problems when you're as good of a skater as he is. At the NHL level, that becomes, there's a significantly larger gap there. Enough. And yeah, if like you said, if he'd been a forward, he probably would have stuck. I mean, look at Stankoven. I even think that maybe if he'd been more of an offensive defenseman, he might have stuck. But he's definitely a defense-first guy. And you can tell that in the dichotomy of how he skates forward versus backwards from what I've seen, because he's an amazing skater all around. But even then, there's still a dichotomy with his edge work going backwards versus going forwards. There's a complete difference there. But I do think that he needs to just be seen as a depth piece. The only way I see him making it to the NHL full-time is if he goes to a team that's not very deep on the blue line, and even then it would be a little bit of a stretch. And even then, he would probably be a third pair guy.
And he'll just get, you can do that, but every time he plays, he's going to get exposed. He can make it. He'll make a nice pass. His
vision's good.
Yeah, his vision's good. He'll make a really good pass, but he's going to get burned every time off the rush. He can't defend the rush. He just can't. No matter he knows how to defend the rush in theory. He knows what's supposed to happen, but he can't execute because he's not tall enough. It's sad. It's not his fault. God didn't bless him with the height necessary.
Can we give him Stretch Armstrong arms and then he can
have that procedure to lengthen his shin bones or whatever it is that I've heard about.
I hate seeing people do that though, but that's a different discussion entirely. When I see people do that, I'm like, bro, come on.
It's probably too late now, but if he wanted an NHL career, he should have just transitioned forward.
I think we're going to start seeing that more often. I really do. I think that's going to start happening more that was one of the things that I always said about Tony DeAngelo. I'm like, if this guy can't play defense, he could be a winger very easily with how well he skates and his possession ability, his passing ability, and everything like that. I mean, I know that there's exceptions like that, like i.e. Burns was drafted as a forward and became a defenseman. I think that Dustin Byfuglien's another good example of it. I think that we're going to see that more often in the future just because the talent level you have to play in the league now is higher than it's ever been. So it's probably going to be easier to take a guy who's got that capability and be like, hey, you learn to play forward instead and you can stay. The Senators tried it for a little bit with what's his name, Eric Brandstrom. I think they tried it with him for a little bit.
Yeah, I know Victor Mete was a player that I think
Mete too,
would switch between forward and wing every now and then.
We had
Brandon Smith.
Carolina.
Brandon Smith is another one.
Brandon Smith's a great example of it, and he saved his career by doing that. And I'm trying to think of, there was someone else that played for Carolina that did it back in the day. Matt Tennyson, he did it too, where he would flop between forward and defense.
Ooh, that's a name I have not heard in a long time.
Long time. It's like, because I remember that, but God, that team was so bad.
It's so bad.
But I remember it's like Matt Tennyson's playing forward, and it's not really a big deal.
Oh dear. Okay. All right.
So we have a comment requesting Badinka.
Yeah, read my mind. I was just about to get to Badinka.
Okay.
Yeah. First full AHL season. He played a little bit in the AHL last year. Again, a very nice improvement from Badinka. He's starting to show a little bit more. I mean, the numbers don't jump out of you here right now. 4 goals, 4 assists for 8 points in 33 games. But he's a plus 10. And so his defensive metrics are very, very solid. He uses his body effectively. His positioning in the defensive zone is very, very solid. And I like what I see from Badinka. I mean, I'd like to see the offensive game come along a little bit more. He's starting to get some tools in there. He's starting to jump in on the rush a little bit. I'd like to see a little bit more from him. I think that's where his biggest area of growth needs to be. But he's got everything else basically solid, I'd say. Definitely NHL competent. I think we got a player here.
I liked what I saw of him in the preseason.
Yeah,
what I saw of him in the preseason, I liked. It looked like his gaps had gotten a lot better. Not all too dissimilar from some of the things in Keandre Miller's skill set, I would say. I like his skating. He's a decent edges guy, but I like the power skating aspect of his game. When he goes toes in on somebody and takes that extra step to keep up with them and everything, he doesn't let them around him very easy. He tends to not cut them off with the crossovers. He tends to go toes in, stick down, make stick on puck plays, and he looks like he's got a little bit of a physical side to his game as well to go with that. From what I've seen, he's not going to crush you, but he'll use his size to separate you from the puck and everything like that. So I do like what I've seen out of Badinka so far. And he, we've talked about this. I watch defensemen probably more than anybody. So it's like, I do like what I have seen out of him. This is another guy though, that I'm kind of worried about the path forward. Like, I don't know if you were planning on bringing Charles Alexis Legault up. There's kind of a relatively clear path for him when Chatfield is done,
right?
Because I love Chatfield. But if we're looking long term, Legault has got to come to the league.
He will, and of course, we all know what happened with Legault trying to punch a skate. It's very unfortunate for him. I think he should be back in about March. I think
something like that, yeah, because he's been skating again with the hand bandage stuff.
Yeah. So God willing, that hand will heal up just fine. I know he probably sliced every tendon in it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that happening. Obviously, what more can you say? Not much to say about Legault. He was playing great, scored his first goal, sliced his hand. We can talk about Nystrom as well. He spent more time at the Canes than the Wolves. Obviously, got the contract. Fantastic for him. Just like one of the most solid players in his own end that I've ever seen. Even though he's not the biggest guy. What is he, 5'11"?
Yeah,
I don't think he's quite 6 feet, but he's still is so positionally sound. I like my favorite play that I saw him so far was on the Canes when I think we played in Washington against the Capitals. He's chasing down a puck in the corner with Tom Wilson all over him.
No fear whatsoever.
Completely riding his ass. Tom Wilson completely riding his ass, and he just don't care. I'm going to win, win the race to the puck and make the outlet pass. And he did, with Tom Wilson literally on top of him. Like, that is not there are that many players in the NHL that can do that. And he did it at his size. So, and it's mentioned too, they mentioned on the broadcast, he uses a very long stick.
He puts an extension in his.
Yeah. So that he covers, I guess, as much area of the biggest zone around him that he can. He uses that very, very effectively.
So there's actually something really impressive about that. And I know this from playing defense. There's a lot of players who can't maintain their gaps properly with a longer stick, because it's like, here's the stick, right? And when people have it out here in advance, you're giving whoever has possession of the puck, whoever you're trying to shut down in that particular sequence, you're giving them all this. Imagine the Pythagorean theorem, and you're just giving them everything in the triangle to be able to, dangle it underneath you and everything like that. You're giving them all that room. They already know where the stick is.
Yeah.
Whereas it's like,
right.
Yeah, you're giving them the entirety of that triangle underneath the stick. Nyström doesn't do that. Nyström is he's kind of like Slavin in that regard, where he knows how to keep that arm tucked until it's time to use it. The analogy I used to explain to a guy that he just started playing, and I was, teaching him some stuff and everything like that. I said, if you're going to stab somebody, you don't run at them with your hand extended all the way out.
Right.
You got to plunge it.
Right.
Kind of a fucked up analogy, but it does apply.
We'll go with it. All right. I hope you don't get monetized or anything.
I'm not monetized yet anyway, so I couldn't think of another way to describe it. But if you've got the stick tucked in, they don't know what you're doing, and then you can poke where you need to.
Right. He can haft it. He can short haft it, and so that's I've seen that too, and he's got a nice shot also. Hope it goes in. I really wanted to go in for him one day.
Yeah,
soon.
His vision's really good too, because he's got a bunch of assists already. But like he has that ability to maintain those gaps and maintain them well, because a lot of times when you have a longer stick, it'll give you the illusion that you've got a better gap than what you actually do. In his case, he can read that play with that gap with the extra length on his stick and still maintain that, because you're not supposed to be too far away. You're not supposed to be too close. The general rule of thumb is stick length and a half or 2 stick lengths, depending on the situation, where you're at and everything like that. With the extra stick length, he is really good at angling guys off and making them play on his terms, using the boards to his advantage and everything like that. Once he gets them a little bit, gets them wide and everything like that. If they try to cut to the middle of the ice, he's got the extra reach that he uses on them there, especially if he's on his right side, their left. So really, when it comes to Nyström, the best way I can describe it is I just see a very fundamentally sound player. Like, he is the definition of just do your job, play your role. And that's what I think he does best. He doesn't try to do anything fancy. He doesn't try to go out there and be Cale Makar. He just goes out there and he just plays a very simple and effective, very technically sound game.
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, when we debut the new channel, especially if we're going to debut that series of graduations, he should headline it. Because he has his big boy contract.
Yes.
Since he signed that, it's not going to be an ELC. And even if he goes back, he'll be sent out of the minors at various points this year. I still think, obviously, if you sign an NHL contract, I think you've earned that graduation video, and I think we should definitely do that for him.
Yes, yeah, Nyström definitely could be the first one. But yeah, I was not expecting him to have the showing that he had. I didn't.
Me neither.
7th round pick.
Yeah, like what was it? Let me see that again.
He was near the bottom.
Let me just say exactly what his position was.
Yeah, he had to be near the bottom because Carolina was late in each round.
219 overall. Like, it was like third from last. It was like, what a pick.
Yeah, I knew he was near the bottom, but I didn't know he was third from last. Wow.
What a pick. Yeah, that's why I say don't be flippant with just giving away late round picks. They're gems to be mined in those later rounds. And we definitely found one here. I really hope, I'd like to see him having a long-term impact with the organization. Of course, with the depth the way it is and with his ability the way it is, if he's used as a trade chip, he'd be a pretty valuable one. I know it would hurt you. And I see that too, because I didn't see it. I thought we had an NHL player with him before the season started.
I didn't expect one right now.
I didn't think it would be this quickly.
No.
So yeah, absolutely. He's definitely an extremely valuable asset that we have to manage.
Okay, so here's an
Whether it's gonna
interesting
be-
question for you then.
Go ahead.
Somebody calls and they want Nystrom or Legault to make a big deal. Who do you let go? Keeping in mind that Nystrom's already signed.
Yeah, that's probably why I would go with Legault, even though I know that might hurt you as well.
That would hurt me more.
That might hurt you more, but Nystrom is signed. We've seen his positional game and his stick work is ahead of Legault's. Legault's more physical, obviously, bigger, stronger body, and so he's got that aspect in his favor. But especially the way the Canes defend, it's not. I mean, it's not to say that they won't ever be physical, although Nikishin, but it's primarily positioning and using the stick. That's primarily the way the Canes defense works, and so he's already got that. I think he's ahead of Legault in that regard, and so for that reason and the contract, that's why if I had to part with one of them, I would choose Legault. I respect any disagreement there; it'd be fair.
Dude, it's a coin toss for me just because Nystrom signed already, so I totally understand that sentiment there. And then the other thing we have to consider, at times when we saw Nystrom playing with Nikishin, I liked what I saw with that pairing. So that's the other thing I'm considering. It's like,
and imagine that, like we got two rookie defensemen on a great pair together.
Yeah, it's like
if you consider Nikishin a rookie.
In the traditional sense, no. In the technical sense, yes. But like, it's also like, here's the thing I think about it though. I always thought that Nikishin and Legault were that big pair of the future. But after seeing Nystrom and Nikishin play together, Legault is good at what he does, like we talked about. The skating and the positioning favors Nystrom a little bit more. The other thing that favors Nystrom a little bit more, I would say, is just the straightaway speed to be able to get back and make a stick on puck play when Nikishin inevitably gets burned because of the.
I think is a little bit better too.
Yeah, and Nikishin's got that high risk, high reward brand of offense. He has to play that way, otherwise, there's no point in having him if you don't let him do that. So he needs that safety valve. So when I look at that and I think about those types of situations where it's like Nikishin makes a bad pinch and you've got a 2-on-0 going the other way, who is more likely to get there, get to the middle, and shut it down? Right now, I think that's Nystrom just from a speed and hockey IQ once he gets there standpoint. I'm not entirely sure that the pair of the future is really Nikishin and Legault. I'm starting to think it's Nikishin and Nystrom, or Nikishin-Strom, as I've seen some people say. So, like Nikistrom, yeah, we can do that. It's like you just created the greatest hockey player ever. He shoots with both hands, but it's like
two sticks.
But it's like you could do something like that and have Legault paired with, say, eventually Slavin's going to get older. You might need him to transition to a purely shutdown pair game. You don't need to do that right now, but one day you might have to. That's where having someone like Legault and him could be a thing.
Chatty.
To an extent, yeah, but I don't want that pair to stay together because that's too many defensive eggs in one basket. They're parallel with each other way too often. And Slavin's used to having somebody, even when Burns was not playing that well, he could still execute zone exits pretty effectively. So I just think that that's what Slavin is used to, is having a guy that he can just one touch it to and they're out. Chatfield doesn't do that a ton because he's got the same mindset that Slavin does.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yes, I talked about Nystrom. He's graduated, and great. It's great to see. It's way ahead of schedule. And to round out the Wolves, one more player just to mention here is I don't know if we haven't talked about him a lot, but that's Bryce Montgomery. Mm-hmm. He started with the ECHL, the Greenville Gargoyles. He's in the AHL now, and he's a bottom pair guy there, which is fine. He's not going to be anything more than the minor leagues, in my opinion. I think we're going to have to accept that. I don't think he's an NHL player, which is, they can all make it to the big dance. But I just want to mention that he's someone else that I think we either accept that he's a minor league in the organization permanently, or cut bait and let him explore another organization. I don't know if you have any thoughts about it.
So I actually know someone who knows Bryce Montgomery because he's from up where I used to live.
Oh, cool.
Really awesome dude, from what I've been told. But I also agree with that. It's just like he's a depth shutdown, stay-at-home type of defenseman in the minors. I think that's kind of it for him.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still a hard job. but I personally don't see a path to him getting to the NHL even on a bottom feeder. It's just I just think that's the ceiling for him,
There are
unfortunately.
too many other players who could do that and do it a little bit better.
Yeah.
The gap is not the gap between that role of the NHL and the AHL is not huge, but it's enough where there's just not going to be a spot for him, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but it's definitely not going to happen with this organization. I'd be extremely surprised if we did. Oh, one other player with the Wolves. Again, someone else that this is really unfortunate, but he just has not worked out. And unfortunately, that's Gleb Trikosov.
Yeah, I think
I'm
he
not
was another
seeing
guy that the injuries derailed him a little bit too.
Yeah, that's fair. And there was a lot of hype around him. Starting the draft, there were a lot of memes about him when he was drafted. He got that horrible injury last year. He's been healthy this year, at least apparently he's been healthy. I don't think he's missed any time. He had a little bit of chemistry with Ryabkin. We'll talk about him later. But unfortunately, it's just really has not come along like I wanted him to. And he might, I think, maybe has one more year after this to prove something. If he doesn't, we got to cut him loose. So that's everyone on the Wolves. Not everyone. There's Ronan Seeley. Again, I think he's a career minor leaguer. I had hoped that he would be something more. Not really seeing. I think he's.
I never saw anything more than a career minor leaguer guy. But I mean, he's a top pair AHL guy if you ask me. But like,
and speaking of like minor leaguer who maybe should get deported to China is Alexei Himmelsalmi. Yeah, I'm just not impressed with him at all.
I didn't see anything in the preseason I liked of him at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of through with him. Alrighty, let's talk about some college players. And I got to talk about. We got to leave this with we're not going to start with Charlie Serrato. We're going to start with Justin Poirier because Justin Poirier I think today nominated for Hobey Baker.
Awesome.
Third in the NCAA in goals. I think 10th in points. He's going to break Nadeau's record at Maine. He's going to break Nadeau's record of points and goals. I think definitely goals. This kid. His shot's every bit as good as Nadeau's. And it's insane to say that. When I say that,
Poirier's a center, right?
No, he's wing.
He's a winger. Okay.
No, we'll talk about why this is. We'll talk about why the gaps in his game, and there's still some holes in his game for sure. But his shot is just as good as Nadeau. I mean, we got two of them. We got two absolutely lethal snipers in our organization. Justin Poirier is 5'8", and again, this is going to hold him back. It's not fair, but it is what it is. I'll say physically, he's powerful. I think he's like 185, a solid muscle, which is why he can put out the shot he does. His skating, I'm sorry, it is very, very strange to watch. He like hunches over, and I guess he can get from A to B, but it's just really strange to watch him do that. And against larger players and some teams that have a larger defense, he has struggled a bit. If he can get a shot off, he can still score, and it doesn't matter where. From anywhere in the offensive zone, he can fire the shot and score a goal. But yeah, especially on the power play, that's where he's feasting on the power play. And he's going to be good there. It reminds me of like a lot of Alex DeBrincat. If he can improve his skating, he could be that kind of player. I think he'll play in the NHL. He's got to be a better skater. He's got to fix that because it just looks really, really awkward to me.
Is it worse than 82s?
Kotkaniemi just doesn't. His first couple steps just like don't do enough. But with Poirier, it's more like his upper body is just positioned really weirdly. Like he's hunched. He's hunched over.
Well, you said he's 185 of solid muscle. He's probably kind of top heavy, and
I think that's probably it. But his balance is off, as well. I'll say that he looks very unbalanced in his skating. And
top heavy guys have that problem. That's something that I've always kind of dealt with. So it's like, so I can kind of understand what causes that. With me, you don't notice it so much because I spend so much time skating backwards. But it's like. I can understand that because there was one guy I knew. His name was James. This dude had a lethal shot. but he was built like an upside down triangle. Watching him skate was hilarious.
That's exactly what I would say with Corey. He is built like an upside down triangle. That's what he's all upper body.
Yeah,
and which is why he can get to the shot he does.
Mhm.
So I guess the same thing that's feeding him on one end is hurting him on another aspect. I don't know how to fix that, I guess. But what I can tell you is that the jump from the Q to NCAA, he has aced it. It's definitely in terms of production. The production is there, and I think so that's another one into the mix of a small right hand shot, but extremely good shooters that we can add to the mix. And we've even got another one that I'll talk about in a moment. So, but to start the list, we've obviously got Jarvis, then Blake, then Stankoven, then Nadeau, and now Poirier. And there's a sixth right-handed shot, small forward, who's also in the NCAA and is having a great season, and that's Jaden Perron. I'll go to him next. He's playing with Michigan, and Michigan is a wagon. Like they're an absolute wagon of a team. It's good to see because he had his freshman year with North Dakota, played with Jackson Blake, had a pretty good freshman year. His next year was not as good. He transfers to Michigan, and it's right now he's got 9 goals, 15 assists for 24 points in 24 NCAA games, and is a really good piece of Michigan's attack. And so he is having a great season there. That's good to see. I'd like to see the rest of his game round out more before I'm completely sold that he's an NHL player. But he's having a great season. I'm glad to see it. And then Serrato. Obviously, you got to talk about Serrato. He cooled down a little bit after his blistering start as well. He's also slightly injured right now. I think he's day-to-day. He's missed a few games. But still, 6 goals, 18 assists for 24 points in 19 collegiate hockey games. That's still fantastic. Way better than I thought we were getting from Serrato. He's definitely, I think we got an NHL player here too. Still has some stuff he's got to work on, but his defensive positioning as a centerman, he is a center. He is a pure center, and that's great to see. And he can do it very well. He drives play. He is such an amazing play driver for Penn State. When he's there, he's definitely one of the best players they got. He's outshining Gavin McKenna. Let's put it that way. He's making Gavin McKenna. He's picking up the slack for him because McKenna is obviously he's going to go at least top 5 in the draft.
I was going to ask you if you thought that his stock has fallen a little bit.
In my opinion, it has. I have him at 3rd right now. I have McKenna at 3rd overall. But because he's still obviously his talent is still world class. His shot is great. His vision is great. So he's got the dual threat there for sure. But his defensive positioning has left a lot to be desired. It got really exposed, especially early on in his collegiate career. Maybe getting a little bit better, but definitely McKenna has a lot to work on. He's not an NHL ready prospect, in my opinion. He's going to need to, if he gets drafted, you should get drafted fairly highly, but in my opinion, he should not play in the NHL right away.
Probably do another year at Penn State.
I that's what I'd do. If I were him, I think it's what he needs. Serrato, I think, is pretty darn close to NHL ready. I said maybe one more season, maybe a season in Chicago. I think we should sign him at the end of this season. I think we should get him to an entry level contract. He's also potential trade bait. If we're going to get a good 2C, we might have to give a good center prospect back in return. And as I haven't, obviously he endeared me to him with his blistering start. But if we have to say goodbye to him to get Vincent Trocheck back, I might do it.
See, I'm a little reluctant there. Now, for Thomas, I would do that and not.
Well, Thomas,
twice.
for sure, yeah.
Trocheck, on the other hand, it's like I've also thinking about does he even want to come back? I'm not entirely sure.
I don't know.
If Carolina's one of the teams on his list, on his no trade list.
When I said that I don't think that would be the case. I mean, we know why. I don't think there's bad blood between him and the organization. I think we know why he left. Because we messed up, and he saw that that was the direction the organization wanted to go. He said, "All right, well, I'll move on." I don't think it's necessarily bad. He got to sign his deal in free agency. He got to You know, I don't think there should be any bad blood there between us and Trojan. If there is, I'm not aware of it. I don't know if you are.
I don't think it's bad blood. He said he wanted to play in a bigger market, and that's why I wonder if he would have a reluctance about coming back to Carolina.
Well, how's that working out for you now, Vinny?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, all right, you had your fun in New York. You had some decent playoff runs. Now the team sucks. The team sucks ass. So come back home where you belong. That's what.
And they're going to suck for a while.
And they're going to suck for a good long. They're going to, yeah. By the way, that retool, that ain't a retool.
No.
I guess the only thing, and this is actually where the Rangers are actually really up the creek without a paddle. So sad for them. Is Shesterkin's good enough so that they're never going to bottom out. So they're never going to get a real plum draft pick unless they win the lottery again. But even then, they boffed it twice. They boffed the top 2 pick twice. I don't know what that organization is, just a dumpster fire, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the popcorn to enjoy it.
Every Metropolitan Division team being a dumpster fire other than Carolina, I'm totally fine with, because New Jersey is not in a much better spot.
Pittsburgh got annoyingly better. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, but that's not going to last though. They're too old.
They are, but they keep winning. They keep winning
for right now. I'm just saying, I don't think it'll last next season.
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop on them this season. It hasn't happened yet.
I don't think it's going to be this season that they're going to fall off. I think it's going to take them getting beat in the playoffs for that to happen.
See that Malkin wants to keep playing for them? Yeah, this is the last year of his contract. He wants to stick around.
Yeah, see that's another thing I did think about though. Like I don't know how they would make it happen in the division, but that's another place I thought Trocheck might end up because he's from there.
From Pittsburgh, yeah.
And it's like if they didn't want to bring Malkin back and they went and got him, I could see that happening too.
Perhaps. I heard Detroit. There's a lot of teams he's linked to. I definitely think we should begin on him if he's available. And I don't mind having him back. I mean, he was great.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I just no part of me wants to give up Serrato or Nikishin or anybody like that for him. It's just
all right.
I've seen Nikishin's name floated a little bit too much.
We got to talk about this for just a second here.
Yeah, go right ahead. You have the floor.
No. We are not trading Nicky for even if we could do Nicky for Hughes 1-for-1. We'd do it. I don't care. Fight me. I'm not making that trade. Nicky's going to be a better player than Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes, fight me. He's overrated. He is not a top 5 defenseman. No, he is not a top 5 defenseman. If you're just talking pure offense, okay, maybe. But his defensive game leaves a significant amount to be desired. He's not good defending the rush. No, he could not cover for Vancouver's mistakes. You put Jacob Slavin on Vancouver, and they'll do okay. Yeah. I think you put Jacob Slavin in on a bad NHL team, he'll make them at least decent, at least passable. Quinn Hughes cannot save that Vancouver. It would take a lot to save Vancouver, but he couldn't do it. And if he was a top 5 player in the league, which is why I'm here, like a top 5 player in the world, then Vancouver would be a lot better than they were. No. Alexander Nikishin is going to be a better defenseman than Quinn Hughes is. We are not trading him. I would not trade him for that. And I'll fight Eric Tulsky on this. I don't ever let it say that I mean I've really appreciated Tulsky. A lot of things. I love his drafting. Don't let it ever say I'm a shill for him, though. That would have been a colossal mistake.
Oh, no. If Nikishin gets traded, and I can't see anybody in the league that I'm not even for Robert Thomas. I do not want Nikishin traded at all. That is one point where just when I go live that night, if that were to happen, make sure the kids are asleep.
I'll have to go outside, maybe down the block a little bit before.
Get in your car, go for a drive, just have a laugh, enjoy it. If you have any vices of any sort that are not mind altering, take them with you into the car. I will have some very, very, very bad things to say if that happens.
Yeah, no, we are not. I mentioned I would not trade Jacob Slavin for literally anyone. There are one or two players I might trade Nikishin for. Their names are Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon. And they're not available. And they're not, of course they're not available.
Yeah, they never will be.
So stop this. Stop it, B. Stop it with this whole, Nikishin may be available. No. If the organization, I think apparently he did. Apparently he was made available if we were going to get Quinn Hughes back. That would have been a mistake. Fight me on that. I don't care. Anyone in the comments, you can come at me on that. No. Quinn Hughes is the best Hughes brother, definitely, I'll definitely have that. He is not a top 5 defenseman in the league. He's not a top 5 player in the league. He's not a top 5 defenseman in the league. No. Nikishin, on the other hand, probably will be at some point.
At the rate he's going, he most certainly can be. But yeah, I'm 100% for the record. I'm completely against trading Nikishin as well. Now, when it was talked about for Quinn Hughes, I stated that I understand the rationale. I wouldn't do it either. So that's why it's like when some of the very uninformed St. Louis fans were like, "Oh no, you wouldn't get Robert Thomas without Nikishin." I'm like, what other team can accommodate you that would be willing to make that trade and give you as many assets as you could get from Carolina? There isn't another one. You will take Charlie Serrato and Nystrom and a couple of first rounders, and you will like it, and you'll shut up.
And honestly, that's fair. That's more than fair for Thomas.
Yeah, I think so too.
I know Doug Armstrong, like he refused to trade Buchnevich when he could have. I think that was a mistake. But we'll see. It's like even though I'd love Robert Thomas, I think Doug Armstrong overvalues his players. I think he overestimates their market value.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it happens or not. But all right, got off that soapbox. See if
hopefully we don't have to. Hopefully we don't have to revisit that, because if that happens, I'm going to be like, tear the whole organization down to the studs and start over.
I would be very, very unhappy.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in the NCAA? Just looking at here, I know there was Michael Emerson. We drafted him a while back. Yeah, he hasn't really shown much to me. He's only got 5 points in 20 collegiate games for Merrimack.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it as far as the NCAA is concerned. Let's go over to Europe, and let's start a little bit with Canada, even though he's a European player. Philip Ekberg is another very, very late draft Swedish player.
We talked about him a lot when we did that one stream, and we actually looked at his skating, and I was kind of like, if he can improve that, he'll be fine. But his skating was not good enough last time we looked at him.
Yeah, he didn't have the foot speed. Mm-hmm. I think it is. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say it's corrected, but I do think it's improved.
Okay.
He got injured last year a bit for the Ottawa 67s, and that hampered him. But now he is a very key part of that team. Right now he's got 13 goals, 18 assists for 31 points, and 27. Bringing the wrong stat line. 16 goals, 14 assists for 30 points in 35 OHL games. Now for juniors, you'd love to see like the absolute pop off, like the gaudy stats that McDavid or McKenna or anyone else could put up there. I don't think he's that, but I do think he's definitely got a track. Obviously, it's not set in stone yet. We're going to need to see him develop more of his game, but I think he's got a track to be a pro player, and I'd say maybe another couple of years. He could turn pro if his improvement continues as it is. He's got great vision and a pretty decent shot. Skating. It's really the foot speed. It's that straight line speed that he's got to be able to separate himself to be a solid pro player. That's what he really needs to work on. Again, improvement, but not enough is what I've seen so far. And Philip Ekberg.
Yeah, because I remember we looked at his skating extensively, and I'm like, the mechanics of it are good. His feet just don't move fast enough.
Yeah, like you said, like maybe he's got like chicken legs or something like that.
Yeah, that's what we thought. That's why I was kind of like, this kid needs to do a bunch of squats, a bunch of calf raises, and he'll get there. And the lower back's important too. So like, do some deadlifts. There's a bunch of different things you can do there, because, skating mechanics, it's like your core is your second most important thing. Your legs are your biggest. I mean, it could be argued that the core is most important for everything, but, it's just like when I looked at it, I'm like, mechanically sound, but it's like he's just not getting much out of each push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, again, he wouldn't have the production he did if he didn't make some improvement there over last year at least. Again, maybe it's just from being healthier, but I'm seeing a little bit of improvement in that regard, so hopefully it continues. And now for the actual European players that are playing in Europe, let's go ahead and start with a guy that's turned his career around a lot, and I think we could maybe get a track with him, and maybe he could save our 2022 draft, and that's Alexander Perevalov. He's playing in the VHL. He's got was it 16 goals and 9 assists for 25 points in 42 VHL games. That's a pro league. It's not the top Russian league, obviously that's the K, but it's what it is. It is to the KHL what the AHL is to the National Hockey League. And I'm glad seeing that there. He's still pretty young. He's got some room to grow and develop. I think he could probably. I'd like to see him play in the KHL for a little bit, see what he can do there. The K obviously is infamously stingy with the ice time that they give to younger players. So we might need to bring him over to North America to really see what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited now, or at least I'm happy that we have an actual EHL affiliate, because I think we need to bring several players over from Europe and see what they can do there.
Mm-hmm.
In Greenville Gargoyles, and see what we got. We get a nice good look at eyes on them, because there's not a ton of tape that I can see of the VHL. So I'd like to see more from Paravolov. For a while, it looked like he was going to be a complete write-off. Not anymore. I think he's bears some more attention. Going on, another Russian player, Timur Kol, defense. He's still playing in the junior league, but he's definitely their top defenseman on that team. He's got 22 points, 11 goals, 11 assists in 23 games as a defenseman. Still juniors. He has played a few KHL games for SKA, and he was a teammate of Nikishin for a little bit on last year. I think he can play in the KHL now. I think he's good enough to do it, and I'd like to see his track as well. Whether we bring him over and sign him, I don't know, but I think he's a good player that is definitely going to have a pro career somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Another player that's he's at the same team. He's a teammate of Cole's, is Kerbin Limitov, who we drafted this last year. He started the year injured, but he's come out and like gangbusters. 4 goals, 14 assists, and for Limitov, really looks as advertised. He was pretty highly touted. I think we got a really nice steal for him in the 3rd round. We traded up to actually in the 3rd round to get him.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's got a long way to go, but I think he's also a very, very nice one to keep an eye on. You know what? I skipped over Noel Gunler with AHL. I think we're going to have to cut bait with him. I don't see him making in the National Hockey League. Just briefly there, and we can also talk about now. Again, I'm jumping back and forth here, so bear with me. But
that's fine.
Let's talk about Ryabkin a little bit too. Because
Ryabkin's probably going to take up a good chunk of time. So yeah.
So let's spend a minute here. So he obviously played a good amount of time with the Wolves. He was, I think, 25 games with the Wolves, 1 goal, 6 assists. Now that's not a ton, I know, but when I'm watching the tape, I really like the player. He is nasty. He is borderline. I'll say it, borderline dirty.
Yeah.
He is mixing it up. The opponents hated him. He made sure everyone on the other team hated his guts, and I'm here for it. The ice time obviously isn't a lot because he was centering the 4th line, but he was making some nice passes. And his goal, the only goal that he got, which I'm glad he at least got one, but he was mucking it up in the crease and got it to go. And so I'm glad he got that pro experience. He's only 18. And, he goes over to the Charlottetown Islanders with the Q, and all he did is just crush, like absolutely eviscerate them immediately with 8 points in 3 games.
Yeah, and 5 in his first one.
5 in his first, yeah, he just absolutely, that league is beneath him. It is so obvious.
Even for an offense-only league like the Q, a 5-point game is still impressive.
Yeah, it is so obvious that that league is beneath Ivan Ryabkin, and he's letting everyone there know it. He is better than everyone there, and it's good for his confidence. You need it's after kind of grinding it in the pros against much more stiffer competition. Good for him. I'm glad to see I'm glad he got that experience. Been nice, for his confidence boost to go and just annihilate people in the queue.
He kind of exceeded expectations because I don't think any of us expected him to start the season in the AHL. I mean, I personally did not.
He's already signed his ECL or ELC at the 2nd rounder right away. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. That's very uncommon.
I think Felix Unger-Sorm did that.
Is he on? He's on ELC now. I guess he is. Yeah.
Yeah, they signed him. They signed him at a prospect camp.
I stand corrected. I see that's still rare.
Yeah, that was amazing too because of how young he is.
And he had an amazing first training camp with us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I'm really happy with Ryabkin's season so far. Even though he didn't light the AHL on fire. Okay, but he's going to be a nice player to have. And all right, back to Europe for a little bit. Let's talk about Noel Franzen, playing in the Swedish Elite League right now, the top Swedish Pro League. I like the player a lot. He is very, very good skater, extremely good. You know, he reminds me of, with maybe not quite the feistiness, but the skating and the ability to get a shot through, is Tony DeAngelo. He reminds me a lot of that the skill set of the pure like hockey skill. Again, DeAngelo had that bite and feistiness to him that he could get under the opponent's skin. He's from Europe. Just kind of mean.
Yeah, not expecting that, but
not expecting that out of a Swede. I'll just be honest.
The only guy who really does that is
Ulf Samuel. Fair. He's not Ulf Samuelsson. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But he can skate like the wind, and he can get a shot through, which is why he's got he's making up to. I think he started with the Swedish. I think it's the juniors team. Played 30 games there, but now he's with the top pro team, Farstad, and in 7 games there, he's got 2 points already, which as a defenseman in the Swedish Elite League, that is great. Like that he's getting any production at all. That is because that's famously, for young players that are playing in the Swedish Elite League, you don't see a lot of production out of them. That is to see anything at all is really, really encouraging. And so I'm excited to see Noel Franzen. I think I'd like to bring him over sooner rather than later. And all right, next here, we're going to talk about someone who's I definitely don't want to give up on him yet, but it's definitely a disappointing season, and that's Nikita Arnamonov. He had such a great year last year in the K.
I'm actually really that fall off. Man.
Yeah.
I was really excited about him a year ago.
Well, something went way off the rails at the beginning of the year, where the relationship, whatever he had with the organization that he was with, Torpedo, just collapsed. And I don't know what happened. There's some rumors about what happened, that there were some disciplinary issues. I don't know exactly what happened there, but whatever happened there was obviously wrecked his trust with that organization. And so he had to leave. And I'm glad he left it, and he's back. I think he's on loan playing. He is playing in the KHL too. But he's only got 1 goal, 3 assists in 20 games, which is way off the pace of what he was doing last year. If we're going to save him, and I think he's salvageable, but if we're going to salvage him, we need to get him over to North America stat, in my opinion.
And if he's not producing like that, they're not going to handcuff him like they did Nikish and try to keep him there longer. I could see maybe you get that done sooner rather than later.
Right. I think his contract goes through the end of this, maybe next year. So as soon as we can get him over, we need to.
Mm-hmm.
And because he signed a 2-year extension at the end of last season. That's right. So he's got this year and next year in Russia. After that, though, we got to get him over here. I mean, if he languishes again next season like he's doing this year, then that could be it. So he's got to do something. He's got to have a better year next year than he's having now. Another guy that I was really excited about last year, not as much this year, is Andrei Krutov. We drafted him in the 7th round as well. He was looking like we could have had somebody last year also. It was kind of exciting. Right now he's in the VHL, which is he is still in the pro. Only 2 goals, 4 assists in 23 VHL games. He's been in the KHL a little bit. I think 3 games in the K, no production. Yeah, I don't know. I was thought maybe we could have had another late round gem. Now it's not looking so much. Things could turn around, but as of right now, I'm not seeing it. Going on to another Swedish defenseman, Simon Forsmark. I think he signed a large extension with his team, and so I don't think we're going to get him. I think he's going to stay in Europe and have his career there. If something changes, that'd be nice. I think I like the player, but I don't think he's going to be in the organization's cupboard for very long. I think we might have to just let him go. Another player that I would love that was we did a lot of, I remember when he was drafted, and this is Alexander Rykov, Russian. He is a full-time KHLer. I'll say that. His production doesn't jump out at you. Only 4 goals.
He's more of a grinder, though, because I actually watched him a lot. He's like Russian Martinuk, basically.
Yeah, I that's a very good point. I think he's very that kind of player, like a bottom 6, but will give you an honest effort each time. Plays a nice role for his team. I'd like to bring him over when we can and get a closer look at him. He's not, the numbers aren't jumping. I thought he would. I remember when he was drafted, some of the scouts that spoke about him, I thought he would get more production than he's getting right now. Mm-hmm. But if he's going to be a solid bottom 6 player, that's not bad. He was a 4th round pick. So again, I want to bring him over to get a closer look to see what we got. And let's see. There's another Russian, Stanislav Yarovoy, another 4th round pick from a few years back. Not seeing it. I think we're gonna have to cut him loose. He's just not developed in the progression that I would like to see. I think he came over for a camp. He really wanted to stay in North America, and the Canes organization said no, go back to Russia. At that point, I was like, I don't think he's long for our organization. So again, never say never. Maybe you could turn it around, but I'm not seeing it. Another player that I guess we're kind of rapid fire through a lot of these guys here. There's Alexander Palavin. He is playing in the V. Solid stay-at-home defenseman for his team. Don't really see anything much beyond that, and therefore I don't think he'll be coming over. Could be wrong, but that's where I see Palavin. So a fairly recent draft pick, Roman Shokurin, also defenseman.
He was in the 24 draft, right?
Yeah, last year. Before last year, sorry. Yeah, 24 draft. He's on the Russian juniors. He's a pretty good skater. He's got a nice big body. I'm not seeing anything that really wows me at the moment. Again, when I can see tape, which is hard to find. But I'm not. He hasn't popped out at me yet. Things could obviously change. Let's see who's next. Oh yes, Vladimir Grudinin. He is a full-time KHL player. He's an important defenseman for his team. It's looking less and less likely that he's actually going to come over, though. If we can get him over, I'd like to keep him, but I think he might want to stay in Russia for his pro career. Next is another guy who was playing in the KHL. I thought playing really, really well, and that's someone else we drafted in the 2024 was Alexander Siryatsky. Unfortunately, he got injured, and he hasn't played in a while. And I'm not sure much longer he'll be out. He was playing pretty well in the KHL. He scored his first goal as a defenseman. So I think he's a really decent player to crack the KHL lineup that early as a defenseman, but unfortunately he got hurt. So I'm not sure exactly what we have there. Another Swedish player, Oskar Vulet. He's playing in the Swedish Elite League. 2 goals, 3 assists in 37 SHL games. Again, those numbers don't wow you, but it is the Swedish Elite League, which you're not going to see a lot of production out of younger players for the most part. So we could still have a player here. We'll know a lot more about a lot of these European players if and when we get them to North America. And someone else who recently returned from injury, another Russian defenseman, we like our Russian defenseman, is Roman Bausov, drafted this year, started the year hurt, but has since joined his Russian junior team. A goal, 3 assists in 13 games, not terrible as a Russian defenseman. And now we can talk about some goalies. I know this is AB's wheelhouse, and I'm not the best at this, but I'll give it the old college try here. Start with Kazayev, who is in Greenville for the most part. He did play, I think he was called up a little bit. I think he played 1 AHL game for the Wolves. His numbers don't look that great, but apparently he had a pretty good December. Right now, his save percentage is .897. Never like seeing it under 9, but it's not too much under 9. Goals against looks a little ugly too at .305, and a record of 4-10-3. So, I was hoping to see better than that. Now, maybe I haven't watched a lot of Greenville. Maybe they just suck. And so
I'll tell
maybe
you
it's
their
not
record
as
in 2
bad.
seconds because I don't think they're doing good if I remember correctly.
Sure.
Because I was going to go see them when they came to play the Stingrays, and I just didn't get around to it.
The one game he played for the Wolves, that was a win, and and he played well. 909 save percentage there in that game.
The the Gargoyles are dead last in the Eastern Conference of the East Coast Hockey League. In 34 games, they are 9, 19, 5, and 1.
Yeah, okay. So
with a grand total of 24 points, a 0.353 win percentage, 79 goals for 118 against.
Yikes.
And they are 2-7-1-0 in their last 10.
That team sucks. Okay, so maybe hopefully it's not all on him.
I knew they weren't doing good.
I've been saying Greenville. I got confused with the old Greenville Swamp Rabbits.
Yeah. But no, it's like
Greensboro.
Yeah, it's just I remember like all that talking that people did about, oh, they're going to sell out the Greensboro Coliseum. This whole thing's going to be great. And I'm like, an expansion team in the ECHL in its first year, you're expecting it to be great. That's not going to go down that way. It never does, and that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I'd like to bring a lot of our European talent over and have them play there, and see what we got. I think that's probably the next step for them once we bring it to North America.
That would help them. That would help them immensely based on this record.
I don't see how they could be worse.
I think there's some SPHL teams that could beat the Gargoyles. Just to be perfectly honest, looking at that record, because that's bad. Because the Stingrays are in third. I couldn't bring myself to support that team, even though they're my local team now because they're affiliated with the Caps, and I'd rather die. I won't do that. Even though they're not near the top of my hate list, I'm still not gonna do that. I got away from the big Caps, and now I'm down here with the damn AA version of them.
That's funny. All right, so yeah, I mean, well, I guess that's good for his sake, for Ruslan Kajaev's sake. Yeah, he had a great training camp, or a great prospects tournament, I should say. He looked great at that. I wish I would have liked to see him get a game in preseason. He didn't. So that's good. And I did hear that he had a good December. So I'm glad with that. I think next year, just to briefly, in Chicago's goaltending situation right now, it's Primo and Miftakov. Miftakov looked ugly when he played in the preseason, but to his credit, he's done pretty well with the Wolves. And he's not signed beyond this year, though. I know he's Svechnikov's best buddy, but I don't know how much longer Miftakov is going to be around. And beyond that, Kajaev is it, because Nikita Kwap, no, he's not.
Him nor Peretz ended up working out.
Peretz, yeah, not have it. Nikita Kwap.
That's the thing with goalies, though, man. They're so hard to project.
Yeah.
It's like that's why it's like get Bussy signed now.
I agree. Yeah,
even if he wasn't playing to the standard that he is, if it was 3/4 of what he's doing, sign him.
Yeah, I agree. 5x5, done.
I don't know if I'd go that high yet. I think I'd try to bridge him first, but I don't know. I don't know if I'd do 5x5 yet. But it's also at the same time he got King Henrik's blessing, so I'm kind of like.
He's no fluke.
No, he's not. That's why they have to get. That's why they gotta get that other Finnish center out of here to pay him.
To get on my soapbox again for this organization has been begging for this. Shout out to Katie and Aaron, who made this point, I think, with Tom on the Storm Tracker podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This team has been begging for a goalie who can do the thing where they don't see a shot for 8 minutes and then have
make a big save.
And make the big save at the big time. We have needed that. We hadn't got it since 2022, when Freddie's first year, I think, with us. And then he got injured. Like we said on chat, that was the year. That was the year it should have happened. That Freddie's injury derailed it. But
I always thought it was 23 is when it should have happened. But I mean,
maybe that
Svechnikov.
Too,
see, that's the one. That's the team I thought was going to win. You know, it's like I've told people on
bad luck.
And Kasha
and
one game Andre Kasha.
Yeah, he is going to be on the Czechia Olympic team.
I'm happy that he's still able to play though, because he had a pretty extensive history with the concussions and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, just between the three of them, I think the 22-23 team would have got it done, because they won the first 2 rounds without Svechnikov, Pacioretty, Kasha, and Teravainen for the most part, because he got his hand broken in game 2, courtesy of, I want to say it was Brock Nelson.
Peugeot.
Or was it?
Slashed him. was Peugeot.
John Gabriel Peugeot was the one who slashed him. That's right. I remember somebody slashed him and broke his hand, and Rod was in the post game after that. He's like, "Yeah, I'm kind of pissed."
Uncalled. Yeah,
uncalled. They just totally let it go. And I don't think he was completely ready when he came back. It's just they couldn't put it off anymore at that point when the Florida series started. But
like that game, I remember
he did.
Pepper Trot remembers.
That's but that was the team I thought should have got it done, because then everyone got really excited about the 23-24 team. I'm not feeling it.
I don't know if they could have beaten Vegas.
I think they could have, but I mean, see, the thing about it though, the only thing that stopped Carolina from steamrolling Florida in that ECF was Bobrovsky. That's the only damn reason they won. Now, credit to him. I'll never say you only won because you're goalie. Well, that's still a meritoriously awarded win. It doesn't matter. They won, and they won on merit because Bobrovsky decided to, be the goalie that Florida thought they were signing.
Yeah,
so
in that series.
He absolutely did. And, it's like, but that was the team I thought was going to get it done. Like, everything about that season lined up. I'm like, this is it. They're going to get it done this year. And then it didn't happen. As far as going to toe with $11 million over the cap Vegas or whatever it was, I think it would have been tough, but I think they could have done it. They would at least made it interesting.
Yeah, I think. We'll see. Well, actually, we won't see. We'll never know.
We'll simulate it on NHL 23.
Yeah, sure. Back to our goalies, though. Ruslan Kajayev and Nikita Kwap are the only other goalies under contract behind Primo and Miftakov.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will say this: we do have another goalie in the system. I don't think he's signed.
Frolov?
No, Jakub Vondras.
Yep. Because I was going to say Frolov's not signed yet.
No, he's not. And Frolov he got hurt early. He started great, got hurt, hasn't been back.
Yeah, because Frolov was killing it the first couple of months over in the
He was like for about
he's one goalie I've actually been watching a lot.
It was with juniors. I thought he started with juniors, but anyway, he got.
I'm sorry, juniors. I don't know why I said the K.
Yeah, he got injured, and that was it. I don't know if he's coming back this season or not. That really sucks. But Vondras is playing in the Czech Pro League and doing very well. Right now, he's got a save percentage of .916 in 19 games. Now, it's the Czechs, but it is still a pro league. And so, he was playing for juniors last year. He didn't do all that well. But now he goes over to a pro league and starts playing a lot better. Maybe we still got him. Maybe he's still worth keeping around, bring him back to North America. And if he's going to be, again, Nikita Kwap, I do not want him back. I know he's under contract. I think we need to cut him loose, put him on unconditional waivers there. Maybe we can have Vondras come back and be, I guess we might go have the Wolves have a tandem next year of Kajayev and Vondras. That might actually happen. Mm-hmm. Don't know if that's the best, but I definitely like Vondras more than Kwap. Only other goalie to go over now, I believe, is Igor Velmakin, who is playing in the VHL and playing pretty well there too. Right now, he's got a .910 save percentage in 14 VHL games. He's finally getting ice time. He was with the KHL club for a good long while, but would almost play only 4 games out of the year. So it wasn't really good for his own development. Now he's finally actually getting some games and playing well there. I don't know what his contract situation is. I might have to do some digging to find it, but he's another guy we could bring over and I think I'd like to actually sign him because our goaltending depth is still getting a little bit thin, in terms of actual talent. Primo and Miftakov have been fine for the Wolves, but they're gone next year, I think. So I don't know who we're gonna do that now because next year I'm pretty sure Freddie's done, at least with us. We're going to ride, I think, with Bussy and Kochetkov.
Kochetkov, yeah.
And I'm fine with that at the moment.
You got to have some depth behind it, though.
But yeah, we're going to need some other goaltending depth behind that. And right now, it's the best goalies in the system. After that, again, once Primo and Miftakov are gone, it's Kajayev, Vondras, and Velmakin.
Yeah, that's something that's going to have to be improved. I mean, this just kind of puts it into perspective how lucky we got with Bussy.
Oh my goodness. What a they were saying that Forsling is the best waiver pickup. I think Bussy's giving him a run for his money. If we win it all, it'll be because it'll be because of him. I'm gonna go.
That's the only reason that this season is not a disaster. If you
You're
take
right.
him out of the equation, I
You're
don't
right.
want to know
You
where
said
Carolina's
it
at in the standings.
a month and a half ago, and you're right. It's only gotten more. It's only more accurate that our best goalie is a waiver pickup.
Yeah,
but that's not a bad thing. Though. He has just been lights out.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing at all. You know, it would be nice if once in a while Carolina had some good luck, though. I mean, we're just talking about 21-22. You go into that with a healthy goalie, maybe you get to the Eastern Conference Finals. That team should have got further.
I think we win it all. I think we win it all.
You think so?
I think a healthy Freddie. I think we'd have won more. We would have won several games on the road, and we'd have cleaned up Boston probably in 5 games. I think we'd have cleaned up.
See, that's what I always thought. I'm like,
I think we
win one game on the road and get one power play goal at the right time. Boston's out in 5 and the Rangers are out in 6. So, that's all that was missing to get that done.
I definitely believe that. I think we could have gotten past Tampa. I think we had him that year.
Yeah, that Game 7 collapse against the Rangers was just brutal. I felt from the outset of that game, though. I remember I'm watching the pregame show and I'm like, Carolina is not going to win this game. I had a bad feeling from the get-go. And then the next time I had that horrible feeling was the game 6 in 23-24. I felt great. I went to the bathroom during the second intermission and I had this sinking feeling over me, and I stopped and I leaned on this pillar because me and AB were sitting in 115 that night where we used to sit, and I'm like I just had this sinking feeling. I'm like, and
you were there, weren't you? Yeah, you were at the game. Yeah,
that's the only 2 times I've had that feeling, because the entirety of the Eastern Conference Finals in 22-23.
We had to post twice in that period, by the way, before they got their first.
Yeah, Gensel hit it and D'Angelo hit it.
Yeah, Pepperidge Farm remembers.
I remember when D'Angelo hit it, and I was kind of because I was wearing my D'Angelo sweater that night, I'm like, the amount of things I had loaded up in my head to say when I saw him, and
Tony
lean into that shot.
Is playing really well for the Islanders, by the way, Kali.
He is.
They're annoyingly good.
Yeah, but yeah, when he loaded up that shot, I was like, I've been waiting my entire life for this. It seems like I was like, finally, I'm gonna get to do this, and just I have so many people I'm gonna say so many bad things to because of this. But it didn't go down that way. No. Man, there's quite a history of that, of Carolina hitting post at inconvenience. I mean, Jarvis in overtime against Florida and
this year we were freaking leading the league in posts and crossbars.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Just what was that? Who was that one game against where Carolina hit it 5 times this year?
That was New Jersey. That was game 1.
Yeah. Well, there was another one. There was the New Jersey one, and then there was another one later in the season where I'm kind of like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. I couldn't remember who it was.
I can't remember, but I think on our expected goals, total goals, I think we're still one of the unluckiest teams in the league right now for that reason.
Yeah.
And I think we're still at the bottom of the league in terms of that. We should be scoring just about as much as Colorado, but we're not.
That's a reoccurring thing, though. That's always not always, but it seems like that's a reoccurring problem.
I think if Slavin was healthy this entire year, I think we'd be challenging Colorado for the top spot. But
potentially, yeah. It's just him being out, definitely. That's why it goes back to what you and I were talking about with the value of Slavin. He's out, and the team is noticeably different.
I think we'd have
that's how much of a contribution he makes.
I think we'd have around 7 or 8 more points.
Probably
for the whole year.
I'd feel a lot better about that too, because the prime times for Carolina to make hay, they didn't make enough, and the last 2 months of the schedule is brutal.
Yeah,
particularly
this
March.
Condensed schedule is it's a league wide problem, and everyone's getting hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of ridiculous. All right, but I think that's basically everybody in terms of prospects. I don't know if I missed anyone. I don't know if you want to have some wrap-up thoughts. Any final thoughts for these players here?
Nope, you about covered it all. So to the audience here, let's see. You got time to do some comments? What time do you need to get going?
No, I'm good. We're good.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, because I don't got to be up until 7:00, and I don't sleep more than 6 hours normally anyway. So, all right, we'll go through all the comments then. That's totally fine, because there's not a ton of them, but there's a good amount. J-Man, what's up, buddy? Nadeau will be amazing. The team has to hold on to him unless it's for a substantial upgrade. I agree with that.
Define substantial.
Robert
Because-
Thomas.
Yeah, right. And that's how I would define substantial. I wouldn't really define it as anyone else at the moment. That's
Yeah,
potentially available.
Robert Thomas. That is it.
Yeah, and that's basically it. And even then, it's really only because he's on under contract at a decent rate for what, 4 more years?
Thomas?
Yeah,
I
think
think
he's-
it's
I think it's-
6 actually. Here, I'll
six
tell you
now?
in 2
Okay, yeah.
seconds. I
So
think
that's-
so.
so that's why
It's 5 or 6.
I'd say that is really the only reason why it would be worth trading Nadeau for Thomas, is because he is
The
under
contract.
so long at that cap hit, which is stellar. So he's got a stellar contract, whereas EP40 has a terrible contract.
It's 5.
So- 5. Okay.
Yeah, he's in year 3 of 8, and he's an $8.125 million cap hit. That's one of the biggest. And it's like with Thomas, I don't get concerned about the effort level because I've watched him play enough to know that that's not a problem.
They're saying he
EP40 on
doesn't
the
hit a
other
lot.
hand,
I know he's injured now at the moment. That's another thing.
yeah,
Robert Thomas, he's not playing. I hope he's, depending on that, that could obviously be a big factor in how he's acquired in his market value. So
yeah. But, well, I mean, the other thing that we have to consider, just because you don't throw a bunch of hits doesn't mean you don't use your body to box guys out and protect the puck
True.
and everything, which
and the way
is also
the
important.
credit hits is also kind of wonky, frankly.
Hits, takeaways, blocks, and giveaways are the most poorly tracked standard metrics in the game. That's why it's like, someone posted a thing about how many takeaways per 60 Key had, and I'm like, depending on how you track that stuff, the best demonstration of it, over on Dauber's Frozen Tools, there's this tab called, I think it's called Arena Stat Bias, because those stats are not recorded by traveling NHL staff like
No,
goals,
a local
assists.
score.
Yeah, it's local. Yeah, it's locally scored. So what I interpret as a takeaway and what you interpret as a takeaway are completely different. That's why I was like, okay, why don't we more clearly define what a giveaway, a takeaway, and all that type of stuff is? Okay, here's a question that I don't think anybody has ever answered. In order for a giveaway to be awarded to one player, does a takeaway have to be awarded to another? That's the thing. It's like if a pitcher throws a strike, it's recorded as the pitcher threw a strike and the batter took a strike. Is it the same thing with that? No one knows. It's just very poorly recorded. There's some people who record every little bump as a hit, and there's times where someone gets completely destroyed and it's not recorded as a hit.
Yeah,
It is weird.
that happened a lot, I think, in the Buffalo game. Like that
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
Well, Noah Phillips' first game, they only credited him, I think, with 3. No way.
Yeah,
He was laying the body on everybody.
He was throwing himself around.
Yeah, I was like, you're telling me he only threw 3 hits? No way. Maybe in one shift.
So fair enough. Bottom line is that 7 hits could be misleading on the Robert Thomas.
That's what I tell people. Yeah, those
enough.
particular stats, take them with a grain of salt. The only one I think that is tracked, relatively okay is shot blocks. That's the only one I think that is remotely accurate, and even then,
You should be able to track that pretty easy.
that should be a pretty
fair
easy one to track. But it's like some people might interpret a stick being, blocking a shot as a poke check and not as an actual block because it doesn't go off the body. It depends on who you ask, and they don't care to track these things, and which is part of the reason why defense is so hard to measure in the game.
Fair enough. Oh, excuse me.
Dylan, what's up, buddy? Stank has a higher ceiling than Blake. I believe once he's back on wing. I believe that too. I think Stankoven is ultimately a better
I guess
player
maybe
than Blake.
that's where I guess that might have been where my outlook has come in, because when I see them, like Stankoven, I think he maybe can play center. Right now, he's see. Here's the thing with Stankoven. We talked about this, I think, at the beginning of the year. He is extremely good, especially for a smaller player. But even notwithstanding, at board battles and absorbing the contact and turning it into momentum and somehow coming out with the puck. But when he's in the middle of the ice, what I've noticed is that when he gets the contact from the bigger player, he kind of just stops.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas if he's on the wing, when he's on the boards, he can use the leverage a little bit better, and he isn't completely closed off. But I remember he's trying to lead the rush in the middle of the ice. I mean, it's what you're supposed to do. That's where the center iceman belongs. But then he gets stepped into, and even if he doesn't take a big hit, it still basically stops all of his momentum. And so that's, I think, hampering him a little bit right now. And I do think he's better suited at the wing, at least for now. And whereas Blake is thriving on the right wing. And I guess maybe that's the difference I'm seeing. Maybe I'm just having a little bit of a blockage here because I'm right now Blake seems to be thriving where Stankoven seems to be struggling.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because like one of the things that I talked about, and it's like I need to make like a thread of like where I respond to particular questions and just clip all those. And next time somebody asks me something that I've already answered multiple times, I just send them a link and be like, hey, no offense, but like I've already talked about this. Because there's a lot of people who come across my posts and it's kind of like there's people who have much more favorable opinions of Stankoven at center than I do. And here's my whole thing with it. You talked a little bit about the whole him driving possession up the middle of the ice and everything like that. That's one thing. Here's where I see the biggest glaring issue. My biggest glaring issue with him is puck protection, particularly in the offensive zone. Stankoven is the best skater on the team now, but you can't skate your way out of everything when you're 5'7.5". He puts an emphasis on that half because him and Darren Pang apparently had that discussion, which is really funny. But it's like, and like I said, Logan Stankoven whipped my ass very easily. He'd throw one punch and I would disintegrate. But when you're talking about when someone can force him, even if they're not the greatest skater, but if they're halfway defensively competent, force him down around the boards, particularly below the goal line, use your reach, use your size and everything like that. You can only skate your way out of so many situations, as good of a skater as he is. That's where the lack of size and the lack of reach is a little bit of a problem. Now, are there times where he can get himself out of those situations? Yes. Are there times where his puck pursuit, even if he's going up against someone who's way bigger than him, that he can come up with the puck after a board battle? Absolutely. He does that very frequently. But the thing about it is the lack of size is things that he just can't always skate his way out of. So whereas we noticed those few games that he was back on the wing this year, to me, he looked much more productive and much more comfortable and much more effective at that.
I agree.
So here's the other thing, though. Considering this organization's history of its shortage at centers, here's what I would do if you can manage to still have Logan Stankoven after acquiring a player like Robert Thomas. I would put him with Hall and Robinson. Not Robinson at the moment, obviously, because he's out, but you know what I mean.
Right.
I would put him in that type of environment because then he can continue to develop that skill set with more favorable matchups. And then you can either put him back on the wing later and him still have that knowledge and experience where he learns stuff. Or you can leave him in that position, and if you think his defensive game can come far enough, if you want a in-house Jordan Staal replacement, that's probably the closest thing you have at the moment.
Yeah, like his defensive acumen is not my issue.
Yeah, it's his possession game in situations.
Possession game, yeah, and because he I think it is like he's losing the puck off the rush, and that's from the center. If he can't, yeah, at least at the moment, he hasn't found a way to be able to drive the middle of the ice.
The center has to be the primary play driver.
Yeah, and he's better. He's better on the wing at this point. I just have to say he's more comfortable. And Blake, golly, Blake can just stick handle in a phone booth to such an effective degree, and he hunts the puck. Golly, he's a dog on a bone. Like what is it? I think it was Tage Thompson. It was Alex Tuck. He just came from behind him, back checking through the neutral zone, and you could see I saw like Tuck go like this a bunch of times with the stick, and that's because Blake was just lifting it over and over again. Tuck would try to fight it, and then he did it again. And
Blake's good at using that low center of gravity with the puck.
Yeah, and it was like three times it happened, and then and the third time was a charm. He got it. He took the puck away from Alex Tuck from behind him.
That skill set of his
without taking a hooking penalty.
That skill set of his is not all too dissimilar from how Jarvis does it, because Jarvis does that all the time. Get a stick in there, lift it, do a little bit of mohawking, 10 and 2ing with the skates, use the low center of gravity, and and taller players can't do that as easily as they do. So like that's one of the advantages that smaller players have with lower centers of gravity is the ability to use it to separate guys from the puck. Blake and Jarvis are both very effective at that. Now, if you're talking about strictly like you do that in the offensive zone and create chances, yes, Blake is better at that. So if you're talking about offensive zone puck pursuit and the ability to, stick handle in a phone booth, yes, Blake's better in those regards. But if I'm talking about the complete ability of a player, Stankoven's better in that regard. Okay. So that's why I always say
it's Blake, at least, yeah.
Blake's the better player right now, but I still think Stankoven has the higher ceiling, and he's taking a backtrack because he's playing a new position, which is center is the most demanding position in terms of how much ground you have to cover. The hardest position in the game is goalie by far. I will hear nothing from anyone else on that. That is the hardest thing to do in sports, other than maybe being an NFL quarterback and an MLB starting pitcher. It's up there with those two things.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So there's all that. But I think that, see, that's where it's a tough, when it comes to if you had to part with one of them, I don't think it's a matter of it's not a matter of you offering up one of them. It's a matter of choosing which one do you offer up first and hope that they don't ask for the other guy. That's where it's a problem. So but if they were to hold on to Stankoven after that, regardless of how that type of trade goes down, I would be totally fine with slotting him in with line mates along the lines of Hall and Robinson, see what he can do with them, because both those guys have some size. So that'll help him out a little bit. Let him develop that skill set in that environment.
Acumen. I mean, Taylor Hall can play. He's at least, I'd say he's a top 9 guy, really, who might be playing the fourth line. So yeah, again, like Taylor, we've discussed this a little bit in our group chat. Taylor Hall is currently really taking the Nadeau spot, which is a little unfortunate. But I can't hate Taylor Hall. He's just like,
no.
we were so screaming to sign him last year, which we did, and we were all happy about it. And he has not been. He's had a great year. So, I mean, he single-handedly made Luke Hughes his absolute bitch.
Yeah, and that was one of the greatest moments ever. Like
that really was. It really was.
Me and JJ talked about that, and he was like, "I'm not even surprised by this stuff anymore." But.
Greatest player on the Hurricanes. That's right.
Yeah. I'm a Wizard says if you want Nadeau to have upward mobility, why wouldn't you trade Blake instead? Stankoven's ability to play center is valuable long term. Okay, you do that. I will be right. You take this. I will be right back. I need another sparkling water because I'm out and I don't have any more in my mini fridge. I will be right back.
I'll tell you why. The reason that Blake is Nadeau plays the left. They're both right-handed, but Nadeau, it really is. He's a right-handed left winger. So they're actually not really in competition. They both are right-handed wingers, but they play either side. I think Blake is a pure right winger. You do not really want to move him from that spot. So I like the idea that we can have Nadeau as the left wing and keep Blake at right wing. And I think Stankoven can play right wing as well if we have to, or center. I like Brandon's idea about having Nadeau center Hall and Robinson when he's healthy. Don't know how long Robinson will be out. He probably dislocated his shoulder. It's probably at least a month and a half. That's my answer to the question. I would like to keep Nadeau on the left side, Blake on the right side. Again, so if you have to part with one of them, I don't want to part with any of them. Let's put it that way. I want to keep all three. They're all great. So that's my answer to the question. Nadeau is just his shot is so unbelievably good that I really don't want to part with him if we can help it. You don't see that so often in this league with a shot that lethal. It belongs in the NHL right now. Yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. I guess we're waiting for Brandon to return because he's the one in control of the comments. Sort of core being locked up. Seems to be with Justin Robidaw. Again, with Robidaw, I mean, you could bump Jankowski down and have Robidaw play at the fourth line center. Rod's not going to do that. He likes Jankowski too much. Jankowski, to be fair, is he's big. He plays the penalty.
I put the headphones back on, and that's the first person I hear about.
Well, it's because he was asking about Robidaw. We kind of already talked about it. About how he could take over for Jankowski, but Rod won't do that for reasons we've already discussed. So again, we mentioned it earlier. I think Robidaw, it's really, really hard to see how he would crack the lineup at the moment. A lot of it will depend on what we do with Jankowski. His contract's up. I'm sure Brandon would like to see him walk.
Da 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 da.
Nuts. So, I mean, that's really the only way I could see. Damn it. You got me there. That's the only way I could see Robidas.
What's the timestamp of that? I'm going to clip that. 1:44:27. I'm serious. I'm going to clip that.
All right. Yeah, Robidas. If we're going to have him, it's going to be next year or a bust. That's it. It's either next year he's on the team or he's not going to be with the Hurricanes.
Agassi says Avs play without a complete fourth line all the time.
They
don't need one. They've got Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar.
Yeah, and Natchez.
And Natchez.
They're like a glove. So
they have prime unlocked Natchez.
They really do. Yeah. We were never going to get that play with that kind of – we saw it a little bit when Natchez really decided, like, F it, I'm going to do my own thing, and I don't care what anyone says. We saw a little bit of that unlocked full Natchez potential. But, yeah, they could run 3 lines and be fine.
I'm a Wizard says I thought we'd call up Nadeau after losing Robinson.
We should.
The game's tomorrow, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're just waiting until tomorrow to do it.
Maybe God willing, it won't be so bad because Seth Jarvis looked like he may have gotten a little banged up at practice.
Brendan Moore said they just threw him off the ice because they weren't going to take the chance, which I kind of don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, that means he's a little banged up. I mean, he's still probably going to play tomorrow, but.
Well, the way that Ryan worded the quote, it sounded more like Brendan Moore was just being more of a. Were you ever playing outside? You did something stupid, and your dad's like, "That's enough. Go inside." I think that's what happened.
Well, I do that with my kids, but both my kids all the time, and it's anywhere really.
Yeah, it's like, okay, seriously, that they're like, okay, that's enough. Stop. That's enough stupid stuff for one day. Get out of here. Like that's what it sounded like to me. That he was kind of like, stop trying to climb trees with just your feet. Go inside. Like that's what it's like he was trying to run up the tree like in Scooby Doo or something.
Okay,
that's what it sounded like to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's just I was imagining Rod telling him, "Get out of here before you hurt yourself again."
Right. That's fair. Yeah, but I think Nadeau should be called up now, and I like him kind of bump and call down the lineup a little bit. He should play in the top 6.
Well, I'll let you have this one right here.
Shut up, Adam. Like, look, I don't hate Adam Gold. I like him. I like him. I very much disagree with him politically. I think that's not a big secret. But I respect him that he, would at least acknowledge, and he himself said he liked Tony DeAngelo when he was here, and he got along with him.
He was very complimentary of Tony.
He was very complimentary of Tony DeAngelo, and I respect Adam Gold for that. And there's a lot of times when I, will agree with his takes contra everyone else. This is not one of them. Shut up, Adam. No. We are not. He's not trade bait. Okay? Unless we're going to get Thomas. Like, if we trade him for EP40, I'm going to be upset. Like,
yeah, that would upset me too. Like I said, if it's not Robert Thomas, I don't want Nadeau being gone.
I mean, eventually I'd get over it, but I'm not going to be happy about it. Because anywhere he goes, he is going to score 40 a year.
Just because his shot's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Shanghai Dragons. Kunlun Red Star.
Yeah, one of them. I let's put it this way: I wouldn't keep him. I don't think.
Well, see, here's what I worry about with that. I'm wondering if Rod sees Jankowski as the Stahl replacement.
He might.
That's what I'm worried about a little bit.
Like I said, I wouldn't. Here's what I will say: his D zone coverage is good.
Yeah, he uses his reach really well. He's got some wingspan.
He uses. Yeah, his D zone coverage is good. He's a pretty decent penalty killer, and he's actually got a decent hands. He just can't hit. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
Yeah, I remember that was one game he had the 7 shot. the one game where he had 7 shot attempts and missed every one of them. I was kind of like,
Everyone!
bro, come on. I was like, are you trolling us? Are you missing the net on purpose just to make us mad at this? Are you mad at the things I've posted about you? Is this my fault?
You know, what was it? The game against Florida where, you know, hey, win the draw, go to the net, Nikisha shoots it, get the rebound, tuck it in. Great. You know,
Nikisha Merchant.
Yeah. It's great. Yes. Fair. Totally fair. So he can do something, but my point is that there are aspects of his game that I do appreciate. But I don't think it's necessary to keep him. I think we can do better.
Yeah, and you know, plus once there's an extended look at Noah Phillip, that'll be another factor. And because, you know, he played for 5 minutes and then got a concussion. Yeah. So, but with the way he plays, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
because kid's a wrecking ball. I like him.
He's throwing himself at anything that moves.
And he definitely should with the number that he's wearing, because Dylan Coughlin absolutely ruined that number more than Andre Nestershell did.
Yeah.
Because that's my boy Rutu's number. If you're going to wear that number, you better throw the body.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, because Coughlin, boy, like, he's skating in sludge.
Dude,
you think KK's bad.
Dylan Coughlin is one of the worst skaters I've ever seen this organization have. I mean that that's not hyperbole. I watched him skate and I'm like, how did you make it to the NHL for even this long? How did you get drafted? Like, even with that shot, I was like, you are a one situation wonder. How are you playing?
Yeah, he can't play defense at the NHL.
And the funny thing about it is, though, he'd still skate circles around me and everyone I've ever played with. That's the funny thing about it.
He can't play defense at the NHL. I didn't say he can't play, hockey against me.
Yeah, that's the funny dichotomy of it, though. It's like I watch him on TV. I'm like, oh, this guy sucks. But if he came to the rink and played against me, I'd be like, you know what? I quit.
Every professional hockey player is better than the layman will ever be.
That is true. Yeah, it's just amazing to me, because it's like when you look at him in contrast to everyone else, you're kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
J-Man says, yeah, we know that what Jankowski is at this point. He is definitely replaceable. Oh, Rod's going to cyber attack the stream now because you put that in there. But Danko, we did talk about. I'm pretty sure the Sabres bottom 3 pairing are both 5'9". Bryson and Metz are both 5'9". If you're referring to when we were talking about Finsori, Finsori's 5'7".
And that matters.
That extra 1 or 2 inches. Yeah.
That matters. If he was 5'9", he could play defense in the NHL.
Yeah, that's what's sad about it. And plus, if he'd played, let's say he'd played in the dead puck era, even at that size, his skating alone, he would have been fine. Like, that's the thing about it. It's just the average player is just so much better now, especially, like, you know, once upon a time, you could be a defenseman and not skate very well because you could just be a big body, you could bruise people, you could throw it, and you didn't have to be that fast because there was 2-line pass and everything else. Whereas now, if you want to play defense, you have to be able to skate. Like, it's just, there is no, even when you look at someone like, say, Joel Edmondson. Joel Edmondson was not a set the world on fire with his skating type, but he was above the required threshold to play the position.
Mm-hmm.
J-Man says, oh yeah, Badinka has a ton of promise from what I remember during his draft year at least. Yeah, I liked what I saw. I did.
He does, and he's also a very good skater, and he's got size at 6'3". Again, his defensive game is there. I think his defensive game is NHL ready. He needs to develop, I think, a little bit more on the offensive side and be a threat. He's working on it.
Yeah, because that was the whole idea of his draft pedigree, was he was a two-way defenseman that, you know, was pretty balanced at both ends.
Yeah, and I think he can still project as that. I think he needs at least one more season in the AHL and see what we got from there.
Well, that kind of lines up perfectly, though, because then that'll create some competition between, and that's a good thing, to create some competition between, you know, provided they're all here, between Nystrom, Legault, and Badinka for that other spot. And then, you know, we also have to remember there's only one more year of Gostisbehere right now, and my only reluctance of potentially extending Gostisbehere short term is how much he's been hurt this season, because this is the most he's been hurt since.
When he plays, he's played so well, but
That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's just, if he's not going to be playing for you much, it's like it's kind of a waste of, you know, a roster spot and everything. And everyone knows I'm a big Ghost guy, but like that's the whole thing with it. It's like Badinka, Legault, or whoever else you want to throw in there. It's like you have to take that into consideration at that point, because right now, if anyone remembers when Shane Gostisbehere was in Philadelphia, he was lighting it up, and they cap dumped him primarily because of injuries. They cap dumped him to Phoenix because of his injuries. And I said that, or were they still called the Phoenix Coyotes? No, they were the Arizona Coyotes at that point when he got traded there. But they basically cap dumped him, and now you see how good of a player he is.
In Detroit too.
Huh?
Yeah, he had a great year in Detroit too.
He did. Yeah. Well, if you ask them though, he was Hitler there. They were like, "Oh, he can't defend." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Yes, he can. Haggerty reposted the stream on X. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it. J-Man says Nystrom is so comfortable already in the NHL. Honestly, it's weird to see.
It's so incredible.
Very that seamless.
That seamless, that early, that he is just absolutely looks like he's been playing for years.
Yeah, he's well beyond his years with the way he executes the game. His hockey IQ is excellent. J-Man says 5th round pick legend Justin Poirier. Yeah, unless we were getting Prime Hasek, I don't want to get rid of Nikishin at all. Even then, wouldn't do it.
Nah. Like, I would do it 1-for-1 for Nick Lidstrom.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe Chris Pronger, I think, in his prime.
I mean, that's basically what Nikishin is.
Yeah, that's who he is. Yeah, he is maybe not quite Lidstrom. Lidstrom is probably, I think, one of the greatest defensemen in NHL history.
Slavin's closer to Lidstrom than
Slavin
Nikishin is.
Yeah, except without the off.
And the other thing that made Lidstrom's offense so coveted, he had a lot of it during the dead puck era.
Right. Yeah. So again, yeah, best defenseman in NHL history, or at least top 5, Nick Lidstrom. But another point, and I think I like this. Aaron also mentioned this. Shout out to her with Nikishin. That shot that he just torched, that just absolutely blistered the puck right past Bob with he might have been partially screened out, but I'm going to say he had a clean look at it from like 45 feet out, right past him. She said that reminded her of Shea Weber.
Yeah. See, that was one of the other guys. You remember we talked about like comparable players to him.
Weber and Pronger. Mm-hmm.
Weber, Pronger, and there was one other one we mentioned. Who else did we mention? I remember us mentioning a third one.
Now think about those 2 players, though, and compare them to Hedman. Yeah.
Hedman was the other one.
Think about any of those 3 players and compare him to Quinn Hughes.
Not even remotely the same player.
Nope.
No. Chris Pronger might have been a dick, but he was good at his job. I'm not going to pretend that he wasn't.
And Nikishin might be developing a little bit of dickishness, which is totally fine.
Oh, dude, I was so disappointed with whoever it was that ran over Anderson, and he skated over there like slowly and menacingly, and then Freddie's over there like, no, we don't do that here. And I'm like, bro, let him.
Sick him.
Like, yeah, just get out of his way and let him go. Like, that was like, it's just the menacing look on his face and how slowly he skated over to him. Like, whoever that was, I don't remember who it was that ran Freddie over in the crease, and Nikishin's like, no, we're not doing that.
Ethan Reed, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, the players I would, none of them
I trade for. Yeah, they'll never be available.
No. J-Man says, funnily enough, some people compared Artemonov's situation with New Jersey prospect Anton Silyev with how the organization treated those players. He played for Avangard as well, right?
I can look it up. Silyev. I mean, he was also pretty touted as a big defenseman who can really skate. He went pretty early in the draft, if I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
Silyev. Yep, Torpedo.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, I like that. I do like this player on the Devils, Artemi Gritsuk. I really like
Grits is awesome. Me and JJ have talked about him a bunch. We both like Grits.
He was actually, I think, he was probably New Jersey's best player when we played against him.
I agree, absolutely. That was one thing him and I discussed. It was kind of like, it's like when JJ started getting literal that maybe you could trade Luke Hughes on out of your very stacked defensive chart and finally build some depth on that team.
They got Casey, they got Nemec. They're both better.
Yeah, I said that. I was like, I think both of them are better. And then it's like, if you do that, then you don't have to worry so much about Dougie's contract. You still have Siegenthaler, who's one of the better shutdown guys in the league, if you ask me. It didn't look like he was going to turn out that way when he played for Washington, but when he went to New Jersey, his game really came along. Like, you can afford to let him go, and you would get a net positive right now. If you sell high on him while the rest of the league is still deceived to believe that he's a better player than he actually is, New Jersey could be dangerous again overnight, but they don't want the bad press. I understand why JJ's so pissed about it.
Fair.
So for as poorly as it looks like the Hurricanes are run sometimes, and I emphasize sometimes because there's very few situations where the previous front office or this one has really pissed me off. The principal example being the Gensel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, we do not have it that bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, you think the grass is greener. It's not.
No.
There are so many worse run organizations. And the same thing I think applies to Rod Brindamore. He's got warts. He's got issues. It could get a lot worse.
See, that's the thing that I tell people. It's like, this is where I'm at with it. Rod's a great coach. He makes mistakes. He's a human being, therefore understandable. My problem with it is I don't like the end of the spectrum that thinks, well, just fire him. Okay. All right, fine. If you think that, who do you want to replace him with, and how well are they going to work?
Yeah,
that's one thing.
Yeah.
Second thing, the people who act like he's already Scotty Bowman, I have a problem with that too. That's just not both. Two things can be not true at once.
Rod needs to learn how to be able to adapt.
That's what I'm worried about when Jordo retires.
Yeah.
Can he work without having a pure shutdown center and a pure shutdown line? That's the thing that I'm worried about. But that's a ways off. And I've already mentally prepared myself for Jordo coming back for another year. I think that's I have a feeling.
Yeah, as far as Adamanov is concerned, yeah, something obviously broke down. Something big broke down with his relationship with his organization. And yeah, we got to get him out of there. If we're
we may never know unless Anya translates something. We might never know, because I know that I think she talked about that particular situation a little bit too. J-Man says Semyon Frolov has the potential to be an answer to the goalie prospect problems.
For like 3 months. I'd love to tell you more about him, but he's been hurt for 3 months.
Yeah, when he does start playing again, particular. So, AB will do a good job covering the goalies and everything like that. It's just we're getting everything lined up to make the prospects channel. Like I plan on the prospects channel having a more set release schedule than even what I have. Because what I have over here is based basically on the schedule that the team has and the events going on around it. Whereas the prospects is kind of like what the general plan with it is now. So Matthew's covering the forwards primarily. I'm going to cover the defensemen. AB's going to cover the goalies, as we talked about when we announced it. So basically it'll be 1 week you get a video from Matthew about a forward. Then the next week you get a video from me about a defenseman. And then the next week you get a video about a goalie from AB. And then we're going to try and do something like this every month where we just kind of generally catch up on everything going on. So we might isolate 3 or 4 particular guys and talk about them. Like, for example, we might do a video where we just talk about the NCAA prospects or just talk about the ones in Russia or something like that. But the plan is to have a steady stream of content on that side, and that's going to be stood up. Like I said, this is the last pure prospects video on this side, but that's the plan. So when Frolov is playing again, there will be steady content about him, like as far as posts on X, videos, all that type of stuff. So Detroit pulled off another dirty OT win trip. The Toronto player came in on a 2v1 and scored.
Well, if they ain't going to call it.
Yeah, you know what? That's why it's like people are like, oh, Florida's dirty. I'm like, if I'm allowed to take those liberties and get away with it, I'm going to do it 10 times out of 10. Like, I'm not going to think twice about it. You're playing to win.
They didn't against us, and look what happened. See, when they actually call that, all the bullshit that they try to pull.
Yeah.
When it actually gets whistled, look what happens. They don't win.
That is true. And not only do they not win, they get destroyed.
They get crushed.
Carolina got the touch.
They were missing a lot. They were missing a lot of players, but
yeah, but even then, 9-1 is a big gap.
But it's probably like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's still a big gap either way. And like on top of that, it's like, you got the touchdown, the extra point, and they got a safety. Like you really let them have it. Like
I wanted 10. I wanted.
I was hoping for 10 because I only saw the last 7 minutes of the game. Like once I got home, if Carolina won both Florida games, Tampa Bay game, and the Montreal game on New Year's, Carolina would be tied with Colorado.
Left on the table too. I mean, like we obviously should have at least had a better shot against the Detroit in overtime. The other points that have been left on the table there.
That I understand why Gostisbehere was so pissed off though. That was just bullshit.
I mean, like he should have been. I wasn't. I was more upset about what happened after St. Louis than that one because the Detroit needed the refs to win, and it's like they had to rely on the refs to save them. And if you have to rely on the refs to save you from us, if we ever meet in the playoffs, we meet Detroit in the conference finals, which I don't know if that'll happen, but if
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility, but if we do, I'm pretty confident.
No, I am too. It's just so actually to touch on that because like I remember when I did the pregame for that particular game. One of the things I talked about, I said Detroit's defense is better now than it has been in several years. John Gibson is still a good goalie. Mm-hmm. Their top line is great, but what always scares me about Detroit is when you look at the middle six and you see all the offense there. If you keep them out of your end, which Carolina is very, very good at that, then you probably win that series. It's one of those series that would be pretty even when it starts. And by game 5, Carolina should be totally in control of it. It shouldn't take more than 6 to beat Detroit, in theory, if both teams are fully healthy.
Yeah, so, I just don't. I mean, yeah, Mort Sider is great. I think our D is better than theirs. I think we.
By far, when it's fully healthy, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think our forwards are better. I mean, I think we have the edge at every position. Frankly,
middle six scoring, we don't have an advantage there, in my opinion.
I think our forwards are better.
That's the one place where I'm like, okay, if they can make that work, but like that's the only real advantage they have, and even then. A lot of those guys are older. You're talking Patrick Kane, James Van Riemsdyk, etc. And you're talking about late in the season. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. I think go back there. There's a question about Shane Wright.
Oh, my bad.
He could be the guy that we go after. So I know Ron Francis isn't the GM anymore, but he's still there. I don't know how much pull he has if he can say no. We're still not doing any business with us. I'd love Shane Wright, and now he's. The idea of him is really, really good. He's definitely got a ton of tools that should make him a phenomenal player. For whatever reason, and I don't watch a ton of Seattle, but for whatever reason, it hasn't all come together yet. I don't know why that really is the case. Maybe it's that their organization is bad at, pro development. I don't know. He passes the eye test extremely well, but for whatever reason, the numbers aren't there. Maybe he's getting unlucky. Maybe I just need to do a little bit more digging on him.
Unlucky, I think he'd make a great Hurricane.
Yeah. He'll fit right in. I'd like to see a little bit more production out of him than he gets, but whenever I see him play, he looks great.
No, I agree with that. And it's like I watch Seattle relatively frequently because of John. It's just I have to take the time to look at a player critically. Like if I'm just sitting there watching a game and not really hyper focusing on anyone, I don't notice as much stuff. Whereas last night I took the time to it was really cool to actually get a real good hyper focus on Quentin Byfield and Vincent Trocheck because a lot of their shifts lined up. And I'm like, you know what?
You're not impressed with Byfield, huh?
No, I like him.
Oh, you do? I thought
no.
You were giving him some grief and
over the getting
he lost the puck to Morrow. So
he got poke checked by Scott Morrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I didn't mean that seriously. I hope that by now people have kind of picked up on my humor. He was
credited with a goal yesterday's game that derped. I mean, I guess he got the shot through. Then it derped off of a Seattle. Of a LA player's stick. So
yeah. So, but yeah, no, I actually like Byfield. It's just that was just a joke, and it's like I've done my best to make my online rhetoric
Also he had a breakaway, pitched it way over the net,
7 feet high,
fit right in.
That's why I was like, go ahead and bring him here. He's perfect. But no, I do like what I saw of Byfield. He uses his reach really well on transition when he's creating zone entries and everything like that. So I liked what I saw there with him. Defensively, pretty solid. Really, really good skater for his size, too. He's got a lot of speed. I liked a lot of what I saw of Byfield. in the event that he became available, which there's only one way I see that happening. One of the names that has circulated for a Elias Pettersson destination has been the Los Angeles Kings. With Kopitar retiring, that makes sense. So I could potentially see that. Huh?
It's in division, though.
That's the only thing, though. That's what with Vancouver, would that really matter at this point, though? As bad as they're tanking,
they're folding.
Yeah, because they've lost 11 in a row. They're playing the Caps tonight, so that's probably 12 now. I haven't checked, the score or anything. So that's where I'm kind of like, all right, that kind of makes sense why you would replace Kopitar with Pettersson. That lines up. So there's that. That's the only way I could see Byfield maybe potentially become available, but even then that doesn't make a ton of sense. But if he were, I wouldn't be opposed to Carolina maybe trying to get him. Who I actually who's grown on me a little bit because he played pretty physical last night is Alexis Lafreniere.
Can't skate. I'm not.
He can't.
I remember you say that. I'm not a fan. I don't want.
He can't skate that great. You're right. He's not. It's not the pedigree of a high pick for sure, but there's a lot of other stuff I saw that I'm kind of like. When I think about it, he could kind of fit in the way that Nino Niederreiter did. That's where I'm kind of like, I could see him playing with Aho and Jarvis and being effective. Huh?
Nino's a better skater.
Nino's a better skater, yes. But in the grand scheme of skaters, Nino wasn't remarkable either. He's good, but not great. That's the whole thing about it. I'm like, I could see that happening, maybe. The idea has grown on me. I'm not saying that I would do it. I'm just saying it's not one of those things I'm opposed to. And then I took the time to look at Panarin in isolation, and I was already out on him, and then I was extra out on him to the point where I'm like, don't even entertain the idea. If you get anyone from New York, you get Trocheck and be done with it. But
fair.
It's not the worst idea. It's just he's not anywhere near the top of my list in reference to Lafreniere. But yeah, Panarin, I was kind of like, no, this is more of the same, but worse. It's another undersized right shot winger. Yes, I understand he's regarded as one of the best players on the planet. He's only one of the best players on the planet in one zone. So no, totally out on that.
Yeah, he really doesn't do anything else.
See, who I really wanted from LA, but he got extended was Kempe.
Yeah.
That was who I really wanted from LA. Was Kempe.
I don't know if the Jets are still available to try to get Velarde or Scheifele from them. Don't know if that's going to happen or if they're available at all.
I'm surprised they're not selling yet. I guess they're really
they're
just
probably maybe they think with Hellbuck back they can. I don't know.
What I think it is they're just throwing in the towel on this season. They might move some of their depth guys out, but they're expecting to come back next season and be fine.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess that's what they think. I don't agree with that sentiment. There's a lot of St. Louis fans that are like, oh, well, St. Louis made the playoffs last year. They'll be fine next year. And I'm like, no functional organization has ever said that. Like, that makes zero sense to me. It's like, that would be like me saying, oh, the Canes only, it's like in 2011 when they lost to Tampa on the last day 6-2 and missed the playoffs. Oh, they'll be fine next year with what they have. No, the hell they will
you got to bring that up. Golly, I remember that game.
Dude, I remember exactly where I was. So I was in my barracks room.
Lemon juice on it.
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was. I was in my barracks room. And this was back when, I had cable because that was the thing then. So I'm sitting there watching this game. And I was going to play pickup out at Chill Ponce in Chesapeake that night. I'm watching this game. And I'm like, this is not going well. Like from puck drop, I was kind of like, eh. So I'm driving out. I'm listening to it on the radio. This is on my very first Android phone when the NHL app was actually better than it is now. I'm listening to the game on the radio. Oh, you do the Iceman thing with the pen too? I love doing that.
Yeah.
But I'm driving to the game and I'm hearing, oh, now it's 3-0, now it's 4-0. I get to the rink and it's it was 3-0, and then I get to the rink just in time to see the fourth goal scored. I go and I put my gear on. I walk back out to the lobby, and I think Corey Stillman scored to make it 4-1.
4-1, yeah.
And then I think it was 6-2 when it was over because I remember running into the locker room and checking my phone going, you got to be kidding me. You needed to win one game. And they just –
and you know what? That was the second time that happened in 3 years.
Yeah. And then I remember there was
I think you know.
And it was 2008 where they were like 7 games above 500 and lost in the last week because the Caps won 7 in a row.
Yeah, they collapsed, including also the final game winning in, and they didn't do it.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, that's why I'm like, you don't just say, oh, well, they were close. You go back next year, run it back, and everything's going to be fine. No, I've experienced the whole things will be fine next year. Let's run it back thing. No, no. You don't do that. Competently run organization doesn't do that.
Of Jim Rutherford's tenure as GM.
See, that was the whole thing I always told people about Rutherford. When it comes to like, hey, here's a really good team, make it better at the deadline. Great. Hey, rebuild this team? No. Go away. Get somebody else to do that. That's why I hope he learned his lessons, because otherwise, Canucks fans, you're in for a bit of a ride, and it's not a fun one.
Nope. Not at all.
Mr. I'm a Wizard says Nadeau had 2 goals, 1 assist, including an overtime winner today for Chicago. It's becoming a disservice to that player to keep him in that league. Yeah, and also, who wants to play for the Chicago Wolves? It's like cosplay 33rd NHL team. Yeah, bring him up.
Don't trade him. Do not
That
trade
too.
this player.
Except for Robert Thomas.
Even then, I'm not going to like it, but yeah.
Daniel says Adam Gold complimented D'Angelo and paid high respect to him again the other day. I listen to him very often. He speaks very highly of. Yeah, he has always been. He's always been very complimentary of Tony. Like, other members of the media would attack Tony, and Adam would be like, "Hey, knock that off." Like, but he's been like that about a lot of players.
And I respect his fandom. I respect that he loves the team and gives a lot of attention to it. I usually watch the Canes Corner podcast. I usually get it. But no, he's wrong about Nadeau.
Yeah. No, I disagree with him about stuff relatively frequently, but overall, it's like if you think about people who've been really dedicated to the organization, especially through the dark times, he was one of the main ones. You know, it's like he had every reason to check out and say, I'm going to go somewhere that's more relevant, and he didn't do it. So, like, I've got nothing but respect for him in that regard. Do I disagree with some of the stuff he says? Yes. Do I think he's a little too easy on Rod and Rod's apparent favorite players? Sure. But like the love he has for the organization is undeniable. It's kind of the same thing with Tripp Tracy. I love Tripp Tracy, but there are times where he says stuff I'm kind of like, what are you talking about, bro? Like,
absolutely cringe. I've grown. Like, I guess I've had 20 years of it now. I'm used to Tripp Tracy's cringe, so it doesn't bother me anymore. But
well, it's not even the cringe. It's just like there's times where he evaluates stuff, and it's like 90% of the time, at least, he's spot on. And there's other times where I'm kind of like, what in the no. I love Tripp though. I couldn't imagine it without. It's been weird enough without John, but it's like Tripp not being with this organization is actually a harder thing to fathom.
That's gonna be really, really.
He's going to work for the Hurricanes until the day he drops dead, though.
Yeah,
I know it. Man, that's a long time from now.
He's going to be like Mickey Redmond.
Mickey Redmond, yeah.
Dude,
elderly Tripp Tracy might be entertaining, though. I could see that being very entertaining. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Funding for Brandon's that guy. So actually, what I said I was going to do. How many? Because
he wears the same number as your boy.
You and I will speak about something offline, a thing that I will do if the Carolina Hurricanes win the Stanley Cup this season. But I'm not going to say it publicly yet because I'm waiting on a low point so that I can put the humor of it out there, so that everyone's hitting me with the Alice in Wonderland rabbit meme. Pointing at the watch when I post it. I'm waiting for that. That's become like my new favorite meme, the rabbit holding the watch. I don't know why, but I love that one. You mentioned Lafreniere as an interesting trade option on the wing. Not near the top of the list, but he is someone I'm not opposed to the idea of. But that would be more of a Carolina exhausted a bunch of other options type of thing. Yeah. I do think he's a player that could potentially be better in Carolina than he is in New York. I mean, hell, you could say that about nearly all of them, except for the one that got traded to him. Just about everybody there, except for one particular traffic cone. But it's like, I still, Quentin Byfield's got to be seeing that in his sleep, because I got to admit that poke check that Morrow got on him, it was actually Slavin-esque executed. Like, I never thought I would see him make a defensive play like that. It was great.
Hey, a blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then.
Yeah, it was good though. I have to give credit where it's due. Whether I want someone sent to China or not, I gotta give credit where it's due. Ethan Reed says an interesting player. I thought it was Kevin Hayes. He wouldn't be your 2C, but he has the workhorse frame that could bolster the fourth line and turn into a stall replacement.
Pittsburgh? Where is he?
I believe. I don't know. Dude, he's been in half the league.
Yeah. I can't even remember where he went to.
It's not Philly, is it?
Philadelphia for a very long time. I don't think he's
No,
there.
not Kevin Gates. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember who he's with for the life of me. Yeah, I mean, I remember I wanted him a couple years
Yep.
ago.
He's with the Penguins.
He is with the okay, haha.
Oh wow, his picture on here is hilarious.
That's good. What's his production at
They're
this year?
tell you in 2 seconds.
I mean, Pittsburgh, they're in the thick of it. They're not going to trade
Let's
him.
see.
So
23 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, -5. That about lines up for him, honestly.
that's
It's a little low for him, but at the same time, it's kind of like, let's see. His 22-23, he had 54 points, which is a career high for him.
mm-hmm.
And then he averages about 45 past that.
And he's at how many points now? 5?
They're 5 in 23 games. So he hadn't played a ton.
Nah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Byfield is cool, but he went 1 for 15 in the dot last night.
Perfect.
Yeah, but
Come on down.
but yeah, at the same time though, it's kind of like face-offs are one of those stats, even though it's a standard metric. It's two people might interpret it differently of who won one, unless it's a totally clean win. There's that, and 2, it's like I said, I've always thought the face-offs are a little overvalued, at least at 5-on-5 in the modern game. Because if you watch a game from the dead puck era, winning a face-off cleanly guaranteed you about 20 to 30 seconds of possession if you manage the puck competently, because everybody was slower. The sticks were a factor because you couldn't shoot as fast, all that type of stuff. Nowadays, I don't think that it's that big of a deal, especially against a team like the Hurricanes. Hurricanes lose the face-off. Haha, that's cute. They forecheck you into submission and get it back. So,
Oftentimes it works out better for them. Sometimes it works out better for them.
Yeah, and see, there was a time a few years ago when Getzlav was still playing for the Ducks, so this has been a while. He started losing them on purpose, and the Ducks would just forecheck into getting it back. It even got to the point where he was winning it forward into the corner on purpose, and everybody knew exactly where to go. So it's like, they would have both wingers collapse. He would collapse. Strong side defenseman collapse. Weak side defenseman kind of sits there in safety valves and, gets himself in position to defend off the rush in the event that play went wrong. The other thing about it is with the face-offs and everything like that, and this kind of goes back to something I discussed with Rod, and after 2 games he pulled Kotkaniemi out for having a 36% percentage. He was looking for a reason to pull him out. I'm never going to believe otherwise. But then KK had 2 games this year where he played really well, in which one of those games he was 78, and it didn't keep him in the lineup. And I don't know what more you could have wanted from him in those 2 games if you know which 2 I'm talking about.
They just don't see eye to eye.
They just don't.
And there are sometimes you run into people that for whatever reason you just don't like.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I'm guilty of that myself. So it's like I can't sit here and pretend that anybody who knows me, if I said I've gotten along with everyone I've ever met, they'd be like, Brandon, you're a damn liar. Everyone knows that is the least true statement that you have ever made in your entire life. So it's just people have personality conflicts at times. And that kind of goes back to the other thing. There's a lot of people who want Rod gone just because of how he's treated KK. 1, we don't know the whole story. And 2, that's not a viable solution. You don't change generals because one private's unhappy. You can't do that. It's unfortunate, but that's not going to help anything. That will make it worse. The KK just needs to go somewhere where he can have, where he can actually play. So Ethan says Velarde concerns me a bit. For a team in need of centers, he's still playing right wing. Makes you wonder why. I didn't know that. So who do they have for centers? It would be Scheifele, Lowry. Who else? I actually don't know off the top of my head.
I thought it was Velarde. I thought he was. I guess maybe I need to watch the Jets more. I don't know. It'd be torture.
BG, what's up, bud? What's up, bro? Sorry I missed it. Catching up later though. I'm glad you like the new look too. Wanted to say what's up to Matt as well. Nice to meet you. Yep, absolutely, buddy. Happy you're here. Wizard says, I think situational faceoffs are important, like when a team is pushing hard on you and you get a freeze. Yeah, no, situations like that, yeah. Power play and penalty kill, special team situations, absolutely, they're still important. But regular old, if you're looking at it, I'm not saying faceoffs are not important nowadays. They still are. But they used to be a very determinant factor in how good the team did. But I'd be interested to see it, and I can look at this when the season's over if I want to. How many games were the Hurricanes, or what was the Hurricanes' record when they were sub 50, and how many games did they win or lose if they were above 50? Like, there's all kinds of like different possibilities with that. So those are all things worth looking at.
I got about a few more minutes.
Okay. Taves, no, I'm out.
No Taves.
And now if it was Jonathan Taves of 5 years ago, sign me up. But this iteration of Jonathan Taves. Oh wait, no, he's saying who their other center is. That's what he's saying. My bad. He's not saying to get him. Okay, my bad. I misinterpreted that because there's so many people throwing out so many names out there right now that okay. Scheifele, Lowry, Nemestikov, and Taves. They are interested in KK as well if the price is right.
I like Nemestikov.
I do like Nemestikov, but he would be kind of redundant though. He's a bottom 6 guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good though. I like him. Then again, though, Nemestikov and Svechnikov playing together. I mean, I feel bad for Mike's vocal cords.
It'll be fun to say, yeah. So
yeah, that then playing together though, that could work. I think that could work. I'd have to watch Nemestikov a little bit more. I do like him though. Maybe.
Get any more?
Yeah. No, that was the last one.
All right.
This has been great, everybody. I appreciate it.
This is a ton of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to the Dedicated Prospects channel. I'm going to need some help and assistance, learning how to make videos myself. But I'm happy to learn it, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and a lot of videos will also be just like this, where we just kind of talk about guys like with notes and everything like that. Like it can be something like this more often than not. That's not a problem.
We'll see.
It's not going to be strictly video room type stuff. It'll be all this type of stuff too. Will happen over there.
Right,
that's what I'm saying. We'll do the catch up and everything like that. And as far as clipping stuff and everything like that, like I can teach you about that and everything. It's it's actually not super hard. It's just time consuming and annoying at times. But yeah, and then like Rachel Barkley over at Queen of the Puck, she'll I borrow clips from her all the time with her permission. So it's we've got the ability to do all this stuff. So,
all right, sounds good. And on that note, I think I gotta run. But thanks so much for having me, Brandon. It's been real.
I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna go get this taken care of, and then I'll answer these last 2 comments here. But we will do this again soon.
All right, take care, man.
You too, buddy. I like the idea of team adding 2 centers. Ideally, you get your 2C and add a better 4-3C. Jankowski needs to be 13th forward, and Stahl has an expiration date. Yeah, I'm interested to see how it's going to shake out. Great stream, lads. Thank you, J-Man. Thank you for being here for all of it. Well, everybody, that is going to be it for me tonight. I have to get up in the morning. Tomorrow is leg day, and I have class. I will probably do both shows tomorrow. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. Again, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. I appreciate all your support. In the description, there's a link for donations, and there's also a link if you want to go pick up a hat or a sticker off of Teespring. I appreciate all the support and everything like that. I will see you guys again soon.